talk
Yeah,
to me, we're good.
we're good.
You just tell me when, and thank you guys for doing that.
I'll kick you under the table, Mark. When the time is right. No, I can't.
Gotta go.
Not without everybody knowing I'm kicking you. Mark, I kick all the time.
Got it? All right, thank you.
If he doesn't cough in my ear.
You don't know how to do it.
All meeting long, I sit here and hit it.
There's gotta be a way to set it, right?
When somebody
You know who
intelligent
knows?
lets you know,
It's
you
Jen
can let me
Nance.
know.
Do you know how to make it so the computer doesn't go to sleep every 30 seconds?
Yeah,
So I know, she's like, she might as well be a.
I know. We're gonna add idol.
Somewhere around.
You gotta have to.
You can say it out loud.
I have to find it in your. Oh, he opened a window down there and
We're
it feels
thinking
so
transfer
good.
station.
I'm usually in my coat.
Already melting. Oh,
It's on your screen, defaults. Okay.
There was something
Oh,
quick.
I don't wanna hold it. It is.
Almost had it. Almost had it.
next time, next meeting.
I was this close.
Right.
Can I
Just
start my
Google it. I've
meeting
only
now?
been dealing with it for 2 years.
Can I start our meeting now? Thank you. Yes, we're good. Okay, good. Not on. Yippee. Good evening. Welcome to the Select Board meeting for Monday, March 16th, 2026. Before I ask you to join me with the pledge, I'd like to welcome a new individual to the front table here. Mr. McGrill has arrived finally as their town administrator, and we all welcome him.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And from my experience, it's the last time anyone's going to applaud anybody up here. So with that, I ask you to join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'm going to start off with staff comments and announcements. Anyone from staff?
I'll go, Mr. Chair, if nobody wants to step up to the podium. Thank you. I would just like to inform the public of a regional health and environment fair put on by our department, our health department and our community partners. The date, it's a ways off, but I like to early and often announce these things. April 25th. The time is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the location will be the Cultural Arts and Municipal Building. And check on the website, and I'll remind us again a couple times before the date of April 25th to keep the public informed. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Jeff. Anyone else from staff? All right, we'll move on to the weekly briefing. Jay, you're up.
Yeah, just a one quick update regarding Phase 3A, wastewater Phase 3A. Last week, we held a non-mandatory pre-bid meeting here in the Selectmen's meeting room. We had one group show up. Robert Hour's company came, asked a few questions. We're getting back to them regarding those questions. GHD managed it for us. And we have the public bid opening on March 24th.
Great. We're right on target for the timing then. Just so everybody remembers, by June 30th, we have to have something in place in order for this to qualify for the 0% financing. So, all right, any other?
That's it.
Okay. Public comments. Hi, John. How you doing?
Hello, everybody. John Carey. I live in Hyannis, and I own some of the properties in West Harwich. I'm going to try to do this quickly. As most people know, Harwich faces a unique challenge. Our housing problem continues to worsen as most homes that come to market continue to be sold to seasonal residents. We all know this. While this trend continues to help keep our tax rate low, it does come with serious long-term consequences, which me and my family will eventually have to deal with. A healthy community requires a mix of people, children, young adults, working families, as well as seniors. Without that mix, a town slowly loses its everyday life that gives a town energy. So overall, I still firmly believe Harwich needs more housing options. People who typically people who already own a house, it's easy for them to say that, we don't need more housing options. In all the years I've been working housing, I've never heard somebody make that argument that doesn't have housing. I received a phone call today from a young girl who grew up in Harwich, who graduated class of 2007, which is my year, and she was crying, looking for an apartment. And she's homeless. She's living outdoors in this weather. She works 40 hours a week, and she grew up in this town, and she does not have housing. So some people say, that we don't like these big projects. We want more single-family homes, not the apartments. The reality is that this town's zoning largely prevents that from happening. There's nothing I would rather do than build single-family homes, but the reality is if we build it, they'll be purchased by seasonal, more wealthy individuals. So what we can do today, and we should continue to do, is build year-round apartments. They won't solve every housing challenge, but they will provide something we currently lack, which is options. And the options so far are better than no options at all. Those options are better than no options. I would also like to share an update on the West Harwich Schoolhouse. Now that it's complete, it's been refinanced, and it's fully occupied, including the 3 affordable units. What you always hear online and in some of these meetings is, who's gonna live in all these apartments, right? And so I'd like to give a summary of who lives in these apartments. We built 10 of them. 3 of them were a partnership with the Affordable Housing Trust, and they are deed restricted in perpetuity. So we have a line chef, a pastry chef, we have 2 healthcare workers, we have a painter, a cleaning lady, a Harwich elementary school teacher, an electrician, a nanny, a retired Harwich town employee, a construction project manager. 8 of these 10, they work specifically in Harwich. And then last Friday, I signed the final lease. Was an 88-year-old West Harwich resident who's living on a 2nd floor. 88 years old, living on a 2nd floor. His brother told me that it was only a matter of time till that staircase would be kind of the end of his health. So today he can park 6 feet from his front door and walk safely into his home. That's one of the affordable units that we just created. So that apartment specifically exists because of the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust. Their support in 2024 allowed me to build that 2nd building at the schoolhouse. I was not going to do it. So that's 3 units right there. Their support allowed me then to refinance the project when it was complete. If I had not had this support, I was going to have to sell the project to somebody else, and we would not have all the units, and I would not continue operating the building today. Without that partnership, the entire project would have had to sell. Because of the Affordable Housing Trust action then in 2025, which was last year, I was able to purchase and will be preserving the Captain Baker house across the street. Because of that support, I'm now preparing to submit a 29-unit mixed-use redevelopment called West Harwich Square, which I think by itself should revitalize West Harwich in general. So because of the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust supported me on those 2 projects, I had the confidence to step up when no one else in this town would step up to buy the West Harwich Baptist Church. If the town chooses to support me in 2 months of town meeting, that church will be renovated when it was going to be demolished, and I think all said and done, that church will end up being one of the finest buildings in Harwich. Most importantly, because of the Affordable Housing Trust, an 88-year-old resident of West Harwich can continue to live in West Harwich. That makes me really proud of this town. I'm deeply grateful to this town and the Affordable Housing Trust for their support these last 3 years. Their decisive efforts have done more for creating housing than anyone else in Harwich or on Cape Cod. It is helping bring the entire village of West Harwich back, which is something nobody expected. Because of the trust support, my wife and I are going to continue working to repay the town, who's invested a lot of money in us, with thoughtful, creative projects that respects the town's character, unique character, while pushing to ensure that this community remains a place where people my age and others can live, not just visit seasonally. In summary, regardless of what sometimes gets posted online, Harwich does still have a serious housing problem. We should really continue to try to build beautiful and respectfully sized projects that offer housing options for people in this town. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. Anyone else for public comment? Tom?
I'll be real quick. Tom Birch, resident of Harwich, long time. I just want to commend the board and particularly Jeff Handler for looking into our delegate's recommendation for the taxes on $1 million properties. I really commend you guys for looking into it. Thank you.
Further public comment? No, there's behind you.
Good evening, Patrick Otten, East Harwich. Welcome, new town administrator. Thank you. I wish
The
also,
Ides of March.
I also wish to speak to old business, number B, and that has to do with the real estate transfer tax.
If it's going to be about that, you're going to have to wait for
I'm going to make,
that.
can I make 2 comments and a question?
No, because you can't do anything that involves interaction with us in a public comment. It's only to pronounce something. There is an agenda item, and I would be more than happy to recognize you at that one.
So I can speak in then.
Yes. Guaranteed.
Okay.
That's where we all get to talk.
Yeah. Okay, I'll wait.
Thank you. Ann?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Ann Frechette from East Harwich, and I'm here to speak about the Harwich Town Band. So the Harwich Town Band is entering its 51st year serving this town. It's a 50-plus member band, and it performs at all of the town functions, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, Cape Tech graduation, Tuesdays during the summer. So the equipment that the Harwich Town Band is using right now does not function. There are no working outlets around the gazebo. The speaker system does not work, so much so that last year during the Memorial Day celebration, Tom Yenka, the conductor of the band, had to go to his own house and pick up his own equipment and bring it to Brooks Park in order for there to be a celebration function. He was using his own personal equipment because the equipment that the town has made available does not work. In addition, the lighting around Brooks Park is so poor that there have been multiple accidents of people falling down the stairs, including one that could have resulted in a lawsuit, but the person decided that it was just too much trouble to go in that direction. So I know this is budget time. We're about to approach town meeting, and I encourage everybody to think about the town band. There has to be some funding available to improve the equipment that they're using. I mean, they do an amazing service to this town, adding music to all of our public events, and I think they deserve to be equipped correctly to do that service. I understand that Tom has written to various departments and has been shuffled around being told, well, no, this is a DPW issue, no, this is a cultural issue. That's just really not fair to do to Tom, who's one of the nicest people I've ever met. So I'm asking that some funds be made available, whether it's through Community Preservation Act funds, which I think are totally appropriate for this kind of a request, or revolving funds, or whatever might be available. My ask is that the select board consider how to accommodate the town band so they can do their job. They're volunteers, so that they can do this job, this service that they do for the town. Thank you so much.
Any other public comments? All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda then.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the Select Board meeting minutes from March 9th, 2026.
Second?
It's moved and seconded. Anybody have any changes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move that we designate Jennifer Harrington as Inspector of Animals for 2026.
Second?
It's moved and seconded to designate Jennifer as our Inspector of Animals. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. I'm going to take a couple things out of order, because I expect to be robust discussion at the petition articles. So, moving down to old business, vote to approve artist studio rental rates as presented. Kara? We now have a full crew.
Good evening, Kara Maloney, Director of Cultural Affairs. So I think you've heard me enough say about what the rates would be proposed. And the one things that I just wanted to clarify before moving forward is that language will be in the RFP to dictate that there is, number one, the incremental rate that I presented to you last week, though $25 each year over year for the 3 years, but then it's also subject to change at any point in time, so we can bring it back whenever we deem necessary. And then I thought a lot about, when I present to you, about the market study, right? So we talk about what artist studio space looks like from Provincetown to Boston and beyond. And what I have found is that this is right for Harwich. And I look back into the old language as to why this started, and a lot of it kept using the term affordable artist studio space. And I feel that if we start to go beyond our means, we're going to put ourselves in a position that's going to be beyond what artists and creatives can actually afford to do. So while I'm very comfortable to keep our rates as to what I'm presenting to you and to where I see us in 3 years for rate structure, I do want to be hesitant at the fact that at some point in time, we might be pricing out people. And that's not what we want to do, because we want to continue to have a robust arts and culture for the town of Harwich. So I open that to you.
Okay, thanks, Kara. I know Jen and I have had a couple of discussions on this issue. It's more complex than even as you present it, because you've got a lot of square footage in the building that is not being supported by the artisans. So while it seems attractive to say, well, we got this cultural building, so who's going to pay for it? They're not occupying the whole building. And so heating it, lighting it, well, things like that, it's becoming difficult, but we're going to get there to parse out where the common areas are, what we anticipate being used as our municipal use. And as you quite rightly point out, this is kind of like a Solomon-esque thing about where you cut the baby in half, if you'll excuse the use of a metaphor. But the problem is that what we need is a whole different discussion than what the capacity for the artists as a cultural incubator are capable of affording. So we got to find a spot where we get both things happening at the same time. And I know, as I said, Jen is trying to fix this. The Finance Committee would certainly love this to be fixed in terms of how it's funded. It can't all be revolving fund, or else every building in this town should be run that way. That's not legitimate. So we're working our way. We gave her a swamp to deal with, and she's basically trying to drain it one cup at a time. So I've said that before. Jen, there's 5 number one priorities, and Jen's the one person who can handle them. Go ahead, Jen.
So just as a quick side point, Kara's actually been quite integral in my research and providing data for me, measuring spaces in the building, kind of coming up with kind of the raw data behind the calculations I've put together. I would say I'm an eyebrow hair from the final solution. Just kind of got pulled off a little bit today with Jay's first day, kind of diving into budget stuff. But I think I have a good allocation model to kind of at some point talk about with everyone. But Kara's certainly been involved in the conversation and been key in providing me the data that I needed to do so. So just wanted to say that.
And moving forward, the town administrator is going to be integrally involved with the rental charges.
Absolutely.
And I think that, Mr. Chair, I think having the language in place in the RFP that will allow us, should we find that we want to go up, or hopefully we're able to stay attractive competitively price-wise with what makes sense. But the language in the RFP will allow us to, in years 2 and 3, do more than the incremental charge if need be.
Jeff, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for doing all the work you're doing. And really, depending on whose eyebrow you're talking about, determines really how long this will take. I'm okay with this. I think you've thought it through. I like the opportunity to reopen if the need arises. I also feel that our residents are being squeezed everywhere, and our artists probably could pay more, but at this point, I'm not sure that would be a genuine ask of them. So I think this is a reasonable increase, which can be looked at down the road. I do have one extra question. What other sources of revenue does that building generate other than the, and I don't need your car to go into like a big.
That's a trick question.
A big thing about this.
Well, so I'd say under the purview of the Department of Cultural Affairs, we also rent our multipurpose spaces.
Right.
So that's auditorium, library, cafeteria, kitchen,
Okay.
since we
Yeah,
did that last year.
Yeah.
And then we have some classes that we take a portion of revenue and rental structure off of. So that's within the department. And then vendor fees, so farmers market when we do that, holiday market and things like that. So we take in those fees they all go back to the facility usage. And then beyond that conversation is something that Jen and I are working on, as well as Jay's involved in this conversation, is the other departments that take place. So we do have the recreation department, which we've talked about a lot, but we also have other departments that utilize our facility. And in some cases, they don't have paid programming, it's free programming that's offered through their department, but that's the short and skinny version of how it all kind of takes place.
And thank you, and at some point, way down the road, it would be great to see a full accounting of what this,
That's what she's working on.
absolutely.
And-
Take your time, just hurry.
I'm close.
Okay, great, thank you.
We're good.
You good? Does anyone,
I just want to say, I went back to some of your documents, and I see on your RFP, I mean, it's a big thing about the creative portion of it, and I think even I personally had missed out on that. I'm looking at it as a dollar and cents thing, but I think we could reach some equilibrium where we're fair to the creative side, but also fair to the taxpayers, because as Jeff said, I hear it every day. I saw a person who sells sweatshirts at your facility there during Christmas. She has to go out and spell sweatshirts because she's so strapped with the winter expenses. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we come up with, what's fair for both clientele, so. But thank you for your work.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always open to a motion.
Mr. Chair, thank you, and I move that we vote to approve the artist studio rental rates as presented in the packet this evening.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the proposal as written in the packet. Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
All right.
4-1.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I don't think I can move the second one yet, so we're gonna go on. Now, gotta have some ground rules here, because otherwise we'll be having a sleepover. And some of us don't necessarily want to be with the others around the sleepover. So, with that in mind, we're gonna go over the petition articles. There's 12 of them. 5 minutes each. Actually comes out to 60 minutes, and where I came from, that's almost an hour. So we have to stick to the guidelines, and those are 5 minutes, and I have our contestant timer over here, who will judge that. But more importantly, we only have the capacity to take the lead petitioner to argue their case for this tonight, because that's the way these were submitted. There's somebody who sponsored them. And if we have time, we'll have questions. I know that legal has opined on a number of these things, but, so is everybody clear on the rules? 5 minutes, lead petitioner. All right, well, let's dig deep into this then. So we'll start the annual town meeting petition articles with amend bylaw 325, multifamily development. And the lead petitioner is Robert Hundermark.
Good evening, Chairman Howell, members of the board.
How are you?
Robert Hundermark, I'm well, thank you. Hope everyone is well as well. I live over 36 Pine Grove Road, West Harwich. And I'm the lead petitioner on this petition to amend the zoning bylaw to prohibit multifamily dwellings by special permit in rural, low, and medium density residential districts. This petition is aimed at promoting responsible development of multifamily housing in Harwich while protecting the historic character of rural and single-family districts by directing multifamily housing by special permit into high-density and mixed-use neighborhoods and eliminating these developments in historically low-density and rural and single-family residential districts. This special permit, multifamily special permit, came in September of 2020, and it was addressed at the housing shortage, including workforce housing and low and moderate income housing. And it now allows multifamily housing by special permit issued by the planning board in all zoning districts in the town of Harwich, except the industrial limited district and the commercial highway 2 district. Unfortunately, this provision in the bylaw turned out to be an open invitation to some developers to disregard the normal density restrictions. It turned out to be, in my opinion, kind of a mini 40B. And these developers have attempted to fit high-density multifamily uses in what have been historically low-density, single-family residential neighborhoods. In particular, the density of the multifamily developments under this bylaw is limited primarily by their ability to fit an adequately sized septic system and off-street parking on the lot. So, as in, it sends a message that however many units you want to put in here is okay, as long as you can put in a big enough septic system and off-street parking. This, in my opinion, was a mistake. I understand things were different 6 years ago, and the town has addressed the housing shortage, which continues, I understand, through a number of different avenues, and developers have come in and have permitted some developments. But this kind of growth, this allowing this wholesale in any zoning district really upsets the historic character of Harwich neighborhoods. Historically, the residential districts were defined by minimum lot size from 1972 to 1989, and until really 1990, rural low and medium density districts required 40,000, 30,000, 20,000 square feet respectively. And then the bylaw was amended that it's 40,000 square feet across the board. But the result of this, of the historic development of residential zoning in Harwich, is that the places where you can find a nice big lot that you can put a nice big septic system and off-street parking in are these low-density residential neighborhoods. And this all really came to a head for me when they were trying to put that development in on Smith Street near the Bell's Neck Conservation Area. The developer, sought to put in a 40-foot tall row of 4 townhouses in this area of it's a rural residential zoning district. And they're putting a huge development in there, completely out of character with the neighborhood, because that's where they could fit this stuff in. Thankfully, it was met with fierce neighborhood resistance, and they withdrew their petition, but it might have gone through in a slightly scaled-down development, which, in my eyes, would still be inappropriate. And my citizen's petition is directed at stopping these proposals for multifamily, high-density multifamily dwellings to be put into low-density residential districts. They still can be put in, there's 2 high-density residential districts, there's the commercial, the village districts, et cetera, that they can still go in. And there are also other avenues now and other solutions to the housing problem that have been developed. Well, first of all, projects that have been approved, like Pine Oaks Village, Sunday School, Dylan James. And then there are also these responsible developments, which I think a real thoughtful development in adding residential dwelling units, such as the redevelopment of the old schoolhouse and community center in West Harwich. How am I doing on time?
Right now.
Yeah, and I have to say, for the other 11 people that are going to pitch this, you got to leave some time for us to actually
Okay.
ask a question.
All right.
And/or take a vote. So ultimately, we got the drift. If you
Should
do,
have the
the-
lights up, right?
if we do this, well, you're not a contestant, we're not going to throw you out. If we do this, one way or the other, when you get to town meeting, there's a Scribner's error that the legal counsel has
Right, I've
discovered.
spoken to
You would
legal
have to,
counsel
by
on that.
motion, correct that,
Okay,
just so you understand,
at town meeting.
at town meeting.
Okay,
Because there's the article, but then there's the motion that people vote on at town meeting.
That's
That's what's binding, the motion.
correct.
I know.
Okay.
That's
I
why I
got it.
said it.
Thank you.
Okay. Questions for the petitioner? Mark,
First of all, anybody who puts a citizen's petition in, I applaud you.
we got the same time constraint, so.
Okay. The only question I asked, have you gone through any other town boards to kind of vet this out, the ZBA, the planning board? Because they have some pretty good expertise and could give us some pretty good expertise, input into your proposal if it may benefit you to help change it. So just
You were the
that
first.
question.
You were the first. The planning board has a meeting on this as well. I think it's in April, but this is the first board to consider this.
Thank you.
Any other?
The
planning board meeting, is it the public hearing, or is it your request for them to entertain this?
They requested that we come, I think that any amendment to the zoning bylaw has to be reviewed by the planning board, and they send their recommendation along.
At a public
At a
hearing.
public hearing,
At a
right,
public
that's,
hearing,
so you're not sure if it's the actual public hearing or just your presentation to them?
We just happen to have some resources in the back.
I believe it's a public hearing.
All you need to say is public hearing.
Public hearing.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
I want to make one comment. Somehow the planning board, as it's currently constituted, got the misbegotten idea that a special permit is an obligation on our part to grant. If it was a special permit, it means just what it says, special. So that means somebody's being granted something, and one would expect a quid pro quo, and it is perfectly appropriate for the townspeople to weigh in on what they consider to be appropriate. And if we can't do it at the planning board level, I mean, personally, I'm going to support this, because we haven't arrived at a point yet where everybody can understand that zoning, when it says special permit, means that they can be denied, because they're not obligated to receive that special permit.
I think in some cases, they're required to deny the applications.
Whether that's the case or not, this is explicit that you're not going to build it.
This is
What you-
what?
This is explicit, your own article is
Right.
explicit that you're not going to get to build it, special permit or not.
They can do it in another
In
district.
another district, you're
Right.
not going to be able to
Right.
build it even with a special
Because
permit. I just want
currently-
everybody to understand it.
Currently, that special permit applies in every district in the town, except for.
I get it, but you
limited
wouldn't have the
clusters.
opportunity to do it in those districts that currently
Correct.
require. it. But
Correct,
you
it's
have
off the
written-
table.
Good. So, somebody want to make a motion?
Mr.
to
Chair,
leave it?
motion to support petition Article 1 is numbered in our packet, which is to amend the bylaw 325, multifamily development special permits.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. You're getting our support.
Mr. Chair, before the next petitioner comes up, can I ask a global question? With some of the petitions that are coming up before us, and then they're gonna go to town meeting, if town meeting votes to move them through, what happens to the projects that are already in process?
That's an excellent question. But they've already got them,
Mr. Chair, I'm pretty sure they're grandfathered.
that's
if
what I
they've
was
already
just going to say.
applied.
Once they've already been submitted, they're there in the pipeline.
Just wanted to be sure. Thank you.
But the other thing, is you brought up a bigger issue, even more global than global. You brought up the issue of the zoning bylaws in general. And I got to say this, even if town meeting agrees to them, they go to the Attorney General's office.
That's right.
It's kind of a no harm, no foul situation, because if indeed the language is turned down by the Attorney General's, the worst that could happen to the town is it reverts back to the day before the town meeting and the original bylaw still exists.
Thank you.
Chair,
So,
does the chair beyond his 5 minutes?
I bought some minutes from the audience before you started. All right. Second. Patrick,
Yes, sir.
stay to the point.
I do. I will. So, number 2 says prohibition of fertilizer, lead petitioner Patrick Otten. What I submitted on my citizen's petition is exactly this wording. Healthy environment for nature, home rule petition for fertilizer reduction bylaw. I did not use, nor have I ever used the word prohibition. So you're setting up already a bias in this room, on this agenda, for what this petition is asking for. So I'm objecting to that wording. Harwich Seas.
Noted.
Harwich seashore, ponds, embayments, and estuaries are all endangered by human-sourced pollution of nitrogen, septic systems, fertilizers, and runoff. So far, only sewering is being addressed as a solution. The projected cost of sewering is $200 million in the next 30 to 40 years. You take $200 million, divide it by 12,000 residents, that means each person in Harwich is going to be paying $16,666 each for sewers. That's not even considering the $20,000 to $30,000 hookup connections. In addition to sewering, how can we be more effective in cleaning up our waters quicker and less expensively? What if residents stopped using fertilizer? What costs are to be considered? If you take 15% of 200 million, that's 300 million, divide by 12,000 residents, that means each resident, man, children, and child, puts $2,500 in their pocket for savings. So the CWMP allows nitrogen credits, and the more credits you have with not using around nitrogen, the less sewering. So my petition stands as it's been submitted for the last 4 years, exactly as it has been submitted. This is not a prohibition. This is not a ban. This is a reduction. It says you may use fertilizers in your garden. You may use fertilizers in your fruit trees. You may use fertilizers on your vegetables. Commercial agricultural users may continue as they always have been. Thank you.
Questions for Patrick?
I may say, if you'd like, Nantucket, Orleans, and Wellfleet have all passed these home rule petitions, which are before the state legislature. In 2014, Barnstable, Brewster, Chatham, Eastham, and Mashpee, and Providence adopted stricter nitrogen-oriented regulations. Harwich failed to do that, so we're still bound by the state fertilizer regulations. So far today, I've received, both in the U.S. mail and my spam email, solicitations from True Green and Lawn Doctor saying, if you sign up now before the season begins, we'll give you a 50% reduction, and your lawn guaranteed will be greener than your neighbors.
Mr. Chair, if I could briefly?
Sure.
I don't think we've set anybody up, and I don't think we're trying to tip the scale. The language written within the article states, prohibiting the application of fertilizer in the town of Harwich except for the purpose of commercial agriculture and residential use of organic fertilizer. The word prohibiting is in your
All
language.
right, okay, thank you.
Apology anytime to the chair.
I apologize. I apologize to each one of you.
And you can apologize to the legal, because I was going to get to the point of saying we didn't say it was a ban, legal counsel did.
Okay.
So, other questions? I'm just going to give you the same opinion I gave before. If you had stayed in the lane where you were requesting, because it's a popular position, stayed in the lane where you were requesting local control to analyze the use of certain things or not use of certain things, I might have supported this. But to actually say that you wanted local control and giving them a conclusion that they had to adopt is the deal breaker. I mean, and I said that to you honestly about 6 weeks ago. It's like, if you just asked for local control for the Board of Health, I suspect there'd be a vigorous discussion about this, but you're already telling them where you want this to go, and it's embedded in the language. So, any other questions?
If I may.
Anybody want to make a motion?
Mr. Chair.
I would say by form, you've got to make a
Yep.
motion to
Mr. Chair,
accept.
I put forward a motion to support petition article number 2, prohibition of fertilizer, as presented by Mr. Otten.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to support the request for the article. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Sorry, Patrick, but you come back again, like, shortly.
He stays there.
Okay. I just want to point out, because of our matrix here, petition articles are already placed by law. They have been petitioned, they have been accepted by the town clerk. We don't have the prerogative of pulling them off, so the column that we have about to place an article is inappropriate. It's only about whether we support them or not. With that, oh, Patrick, here you are again.
Here I am again. Designation of scenic roads. There is a state law. It is Mass General Law, Part 1, Title 7, Chapter 40, Section 15C, which allows towns to designate roads as scenic. What does that mean? It protects the historic character and rural character of roads by regulating the removal of trees, stone walls within the road right-of-way. This is basically just asking the town to follow state law and begin protecting our village character, our rural character of Harwich. Already, Chatham has 39 scenic roads, Orleans has 36 scenic roads, Brewster has 19 scenic roads, Harwich has none. And Chatham first did their first one in 1974. So I'm simply asking Harwich, let's start following the law and designating scenic roads to protect our rural character.
Discussion.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Patrick, you have about 15 or 20 roads on there. Does that stipulate that we have to designate that many roads all at once? Or is it kind of an incremental thing? In other words, the town administrator will say, we've got 3 nice roads in town, I'm gonna designate those as scenic roads and work our way up?
Correct. So all this is a possible suggestion of possible roads. The actual procedure, either Concom, planning, or historic district can recommend roads. This is just giving people the background of what roads are possible. State roads, roads that are numbered, do not follow, cannot be designated. It's the DOT that handles the state numbered roads. Okay, so DOT, Department of Transportation, will do tree clearing, stone removal without town involvement. Okay.
Jeff?
Thank you, Patrick. Thanks for being here. You've mentioned a few times that Harwich needs to follow the state law. And I'm asking you, because I haven't looked that deeply into this, are you suggesting that Harwich is breaking a state law by not having scenic roads?
That's an interesting question. I've never asked myself that.
Well, I just want to be clear, words matter. So you're stating, we need to follow the state law.
Implement, is that a better word?
I don't know, and I'm
Neither do
asking, okay, so that's fair enough.
Maybe the question we should ask is, why hasn't Harwich followed or implemented the state law? I don't know.
Understood. Thank you. That's all from me, Mr. Chair.
I think what Jeff's trying to say is that for things like meals tax, rooms tax, they're opt-ins. Just because a mass general law exists doesn't mean that you've already been confined to that law everywhere. I mean, I know this exists. You're basically asking us to opt in, but you're also giving a list of roads, and perhaps you should, if you go forward with this, you might want to just go for a motion that authorizes the select board to designate scenic roads. And
So
stop.
do an amendment?
Well, it's not an amendment, it's the motion that you would make to support your own article.
All right.
And since it's more restrictive, the town moderator is likely to accept it. If this opened up something for discussion and you did not put people on notice of that possibility before the town meeting, you couldn't have that amendment being made because it would be more open and it should have had a bigger discussion beforehand.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Just a recommendation.
if I could just check on, because I had that thought in my mind as well. And just above the streets, the line reads, "And see if town meeting will vote to approve this potential list of possible Harwich roads." Would that clear up what you just said?
Yeah, if he makes the motion that you authorize us to designate from a list of potential
Thank you.
roadways.
Thank you.
And my list is by no means comprehensive. It was
No, I
just-
get that. I'm just trying to parse where you are.
Okay.
Any further questions, Pete?
So I assume the restrictions that this alludes to are for the property owners abutting said scenic roadway. Is that correct?
Yes, or maybe putting in sidewalks. I don't know.
But it would include property owners along those scenic roadways.
In the right-of-way. So it's the roadway right-of-way is the area that we're worried about. Yeah.
Okay.
I heard.
Okay.
Everyone did.
And I get what Pete's driving at. Most people have this unsubstantiated view that everything right up to the pavement is theirs on a house, but it isn't. So you might want to be careful about what you say in terms of putting in a sidewalk, because you're competing with the tree that you said that you wanted to save.
Right.
So, with that, does anybody want to make a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the designation of scenic roads as petitioned by Patrick Otten.
Support.
Support.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to support the scenic roadway article. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
So it's 4-1. You got a victory there. But I see you're still here.
Mr. Chair, before Patrick goes for the third, does the public have an opportunity to speak on any of these? Are we keeping it just to the board?
Sure, they will, but
Okay.
only if they brought an overnight sleeping bag,
Fair enough.
because we have a certain amount of discussion that's coming up still.
Okay,
You're on.
tree preservation bylaw. Again, this is the same as last year. I haven't changed a word. It is a copy of Mashpee's, and Mashpee has been approved by the Attorney General's office, so it is a valid bylaw. The wording, et cetera, is good. I just want to point out that nearly 400 years ago, Cambridge passed a tree preservation bylaw similar to this in 1633. So trees are important. Trees are a defining feature of Harwich rural character. They're vital to an environment, our health, neighborhood quality, community well-being. Native large trees provide shade, energy, reduce energy consumption, improve air quality, manage storm runoff, buffer noise, et cetera. This is only concerned with when construction is planned and they're clear-cutting lots. This is asking to leave the trees in the setback perimeter around each lot. Those become designated as preserved trees. If you're gonna cut them, there's mitigation either to replant or to pay into a tree preservation fund if you're cutting those trees in the setback perimeters. So it's the same as last year's. If you have questions on that before my 5 minutes is up, I'll be happy to answer.
I know you had questions last year, so shoot away.
Nope, didn't support it last year, I will not support it again this year. I just have a strong belief in individuals' property rights. So, and I understand you're saying it's for clear cutting for development, that's not what it read last year, so it cannot
it
read the
did.
same this year.
It did.
Oh.
This is about clear cutting.
What if somebody wants to remove a tree and they
You
already
can.
live there?
Pardon me?
And they already live there?
No problem. If you're not doing
And
construction.
it's more than,
Right, if they're not doing
and
construction.
it's more big, it's bigger than this, and you want to put a dining room in,
Go ahead.
and you have to remove the tree.
Yes.
I don't know, it doesn't sound like it reads that way.
So let me understand your question.
Pete wants to put a dining room in his house. He currently has a tree standing next to that house in the spot where he wants to put the dining room. The diameter of the tree is this big, which you've described.
Is it within the setback perimeter? Can he build in the setback perimeter?
He can build after the setback.
So these are trees within the setback perimeter, that 20 feet, 30 feet, 15 feet.
Pre-existing non-conforming. I'm pre-existing non-conforming.
Cheapers.
Well, you
Yeah.
can go down any rabbit hole we want,
Yeah.
so,
So you can still cut the tree?
and pay a ransom.
Well, pay ransom or pay nature?
Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe the reason I didn't support it last year was because if I want to put a driveway in and I need to cut down 8 trees, I go back to the ransom part of this. I just don't support this because I don't think you went far enough down the road to carve out specific reasons why people would have to remove trees in the development process, so I'm not going to support this.
I'm still on the fence that we haven't built yet. For
Make sure it's on
what
the
this,
line.
well, that's going to be my point. If this thing is in the setback, you can't put your driveway there. You would need a zoning, change, or you'd have to request from the ZBA a variance to be able to put it there because you're within the setback and you can't pave the setback.
So there are,
So you can't remove the tree any more than you can't than put a driveway there.
so there are stopgaps and circuit breakers in place.
But our current zoning bylaws do not specify what we're requiring to keep or not keep within the setback. It just says that if he wants to put a shed in, he wants to put a driveway in, it cannot be the 15 feet on either side or the front and back setbacks. If this were to only restrict itself to trees that are in the setback areas,
That's what it is.
okay.
But still, people have to get a
Brian.
driveway.
I'm sure he's going to describe for us that it would have to be some topographical anomaly that would allow us to approve the driveway.
And this guy's long-winded, make sure the clock is running.
25 seconds, go.
Okay. Hi, Brian Sullivan, member of the zoning board, chair. Driveways are not in the issues as far as setbacks are concerned.
You can
Okay.
put one right up to the property line?
You can run a driveway very close to the property. I've kept the exact footages from it, but it's not a factor of the setback. So a driveway is fine within a 20-foot setback situation. What
15.
you can't put in the setback, you can put a patio right up to your lot line, okay? So the same is true with the driveway, all right? The location of a driveway can also be determined by the police department based upon if your driveway is near an intersection, then it has to be so many feet from the intersection. So, you shouldn't be denying this thing, this petition because of setbacks, but setbacks regarding things that are flat, like driveways. All right, and you made a comment regarding a non-conforming, you're absolutely right. And if a non-conforming lot is out there, they could be non-conforming and have an approved non-conforming 10-foot setback already, or even 5-foot setback in some situations in town. So, one thing that, I haven't read this article in detail, but it should be probably, can be vetted regarding how you handle this article regarding non-conforming lots, and how to determine that situation.
I don't mean to cut you off, but that's about what we have
That's
time
fine.
for.
No,
But I will say this, you can't make his lot more non-conforming than it currently is. That
His lot in particular, or?
anybody's not,
I've tried, trust me.
anybody's non-conforming lot cannot be built on to make it not more non-conforming.
Yeah, actually, you can during the Gale case, but that's for another day.
Okay, well, I wish you were around when my house were built,
Fences make good neighbors.
only if it's on your lot line.
Setback, trees and setbacks make good neighbors.
Yep.
Why should I be
Yep.
watching my neighbor's large screen TV?
Mr. Chair, I move we support the tree preservation bylaw by lead petitioner Patrick Otten.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to support the tree bylaw.
Preservation, yeah.
Preservation bylaw. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right. Rodenticides. You could use either mic, it doesn't matter, wherever you're more comfortable.
Well, I think my voice will project more.
Well, we have a
I
mic in
have
both
a-
places.
I don't have a strong male voice, okay. So my name is Jen Raphael. I'm here to present a home rule to restrict the use of second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides, otherwise known as SGARs, S-G-A-R-S. The one thing I will say about SGARs is that they're convenient. They are convenient to the pest control company, they're convenient to the health department, they're convenient to restaurants and to homeowners, individual homeowners who want to use them. You simply just fill a black box with your rodenticide, you put it down, and then magic begins, seemingly. Your mouse, your rodent, your vole, your mole, your baby rabbit, your chipmunk goes in there, is poisoned. Unfortunately, they don't bury themselves before they before they die, okay, and bury themselves underground, so therefore they don't do any further harm. Unfortunately, they lay in the environment where your fox and your coyote and your bald eagle and your opossum and everything else, and your pet dog and your pet cat comes along and eats that, and is then secondarily poisoned. And so that convenience is coming at a high cost. It's affecting our ecosystem, our fragile ecosystem here. It is affecting our watersheds. It is harmful to our wildlife that we so love and cherish here on Cape Cod. It is harmful to our pets, our dogs and our cats. And that convenience, I believe, has a high cost. Attached to this petition is a list of some statistics regarding how invasive these rodenticides are. For example, 98% of deceased fishers have rodenticides in their system. 100% of tested red-tailed hawks in a wildlife or rehabilitation center in Massachusetts have rodenticides. And that's what we just see. That's what we know is being rescued or being brought to our attention. We don't even know what is out there that we haven't been able to gather or make note of, only because we can't see it, and therefore out of sight, out of mind. It's sort of like dumping, your garbage in the ocean and not really much thinking about it because you can't see the damage it's doing. And so we all know that there are alternatives to escars. We know that there are less toxic pesticides. We know that there are snap traps, humane traps, Rat X products, which have a different way of poisoning a rodent or mouse. There are natural deterrents. We have two extremely capable wildlife rehabilitation groups on Cape Cod. One, of course, is Cape Wildlife Center. The other is Wild Care. And they have so much excellent information out there on how to prevent, how to eliminate the attractants and sources that rodents seek, okay? And what I find really interesting about that is that Wild Care and Cape Wildlife Center are kind of doing the job that our own health department and I believe our own town officials should be doing, and that is educating. And nowhere do I see,
1 minute left.
okay, so nowhere do I see any education about what I call integrated pest management, okay? It's a fancy word that simply means that you're practicing good home management and good yard management to prevent these rodents from coming into your area anyway, by not having dog feces out there, by not having pet food out there, by removing your bird feeders at night, by sealing up your garbage bins, by sealing the cracks in outside homes so nothing is getting in. And so I think we need a lot of education in this for the residents of Harwich. So for me, I think it's kind of time to say enough is enough. We kind of need to we're turning a blind eye to what is going on, and I think we should support what other towns on Cape Cod are doing, and that is making this a petition to adopt a home rule.
Thank you. I do want to make two quick comments to everybody, just for anybody who came in late. Number one,
Okay.
this isn't the lightning round. This is, first of all, we can't take the petition articles off the warrant. They're on for good. We're only giving an opinion to town meeting. That is the lightning round. We get all your full explanations and 15 minutes to do so there.
Okay.
And other people who you might know who want to support this. Personally, I'll just go with my own comment. I'm going to abstain because I want to hear a fuller discussion about what the public health implications are to ban them. Because when you do things, you're generally getting something to give something. I'm not sure what that's going to do to the rodent population by deleting this. So be prepared for that question
Okay.
at town meeting.
Fair enough.
Anita? Mark?
Sure. Thank you for bringing this forward. I like the idea of this. I would just suggest, whether or not, if you don't get it through, to coordinate this with the health department. I think they have a sentiment to support this, but they have some qualifications. So I think you're on the right path, and I would recommend, you may succeed this year, but I would recommend, if not, work with the health department next year and get their input, and you may find that you'll accomplish what you want, but also accomplish what is good for the health of the town.
Well, they disapproved it last year, so what are your comments in terms of reversing that?
Everybody has a new board every year. They reorganize. You got to be able to make the pitch. He's right. Board of Health meets tomorrow, if you want to at least say hi to him and ask.
I'm going to be in Chile, I'm sorry. So.
I haven't heard that excuse before, but that's excellent.
I'm actually, will be in Chile, okay, if my plane leaves, okay?
Jeff?
Thank you, and thank you, Jan. I do give you a strong yes for education, the educational component. I do lean toward the chair, and council opined and made it very clear that there are several bills seeking legislation to address this issue currently, including through an amendment to the general laws. And most of them are pending before the Joint Committee on Environmental and Natural Resources. So they're weighing, I think, what the chair was talking about, what are the unintended consequences. So I'll yield back.
Someone want to make a motion for, to support?
Mr. Chair, I move that we support the citizens' petition on restricting SGAR, and if someone wants to tell me what that stands for again, I'm on, that's second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides, as presented in the packet.
Second.
Moved and seconded, I'm not going to repeat that. So, all in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
I abstain.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Matt? Either place.
Thank you. I'll warm the seat. Mr. Chair, members of the board, Administrator.
How are you?
Thank you, welcome. Well, if I can just...
If you identify yourself so
Matt
that Jay
Sutton.
knows who you are.
Matt Sutton, yes. One comment. I'd be feeling fairly rueful if I found my dog dead tomorrow, or my cat dead tomorrow. Those are what you'd call unintended consequences. And that's...
You're using up your 5 minutes.
Oh,
Come
that's
to
all
town
right, that's
meetings.
all right. This first one, I'll cut to the chase a bit. The unintended consequence of Marcel, with this first petition, with warrant article, I think I should read it.
SGAR.
Read it quickly. Okay. To see if the voters will authorize the select board, through its designee, at its discretion, to evaluate the possible acquisition of the former Marceline Salvage Yard, presently consisting of approximately 29 acres. Select board, through its designee, may conduct studies, gather information, and negotiate terms for evaluation purposes only. Any final decision to acquire the property, including use of town funds, would require a separate vote of town meeting. The evaluation shall include review by the appropriate town departments, boards, committees, with opportunities for citizen participation. In its review, the town will consider potential uses of the property, including open space, housing opportunities, subdivision options, traffic and access impacts, community benefits, and other factors relevant to the property. So, I brought this before you because it's, it's too little too late. I understand there's possibly a contract in place. However, contracts can become unstuck. I don't know the provisos in the contract, so I put it out here as another, I'd say, unintended consequence. We know that the state will have everything to say, and we will have nothing to say within the boundaries of Route 6. That could be stoplights, that will be this, that will be that. I don't know what it'll be, but I know it won't be what's there right now once people jump in and use up 30 acres. Sadly, the town had the opportunity, I think at one point, to consider buying the land as a golf course. You may remember the details, Mr. Chair, I can't speak to them. However,
17 years ago.
the missed opportunity was, had the town been inclined to buy land, we wouldn't be, I wouldn't be here talking to you about this missed opportunity. It is a big missed opportunity. This town, sadly, is at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to historically purchasing land for conservation and for safekeeping. We are at the bottom of the barrel on Cape Cod by 5%. All the other towns are way ahead of us in terms of protecting what they see valuable and what they think might become problematic. And this is a consequence that is going to shape the town, and this board will have very little to say about it. So, it's here to put in everybody's mind that there must be another piece out there somewhere, here, there, wherever, where we might want to think about buying it if there are too many question marks. And so that's my reason for presenting it, to get people to think about the consequences of letting a developer just do what he wants and take away the character that we want to create. That's as simply as I will put it. I noticed that KP Law said if this article is approved, it reflects only the sentiment of this town and is not binding. The Select Board has the authority to explore the possible acquisition of the property, whether or not this article is approved. So I encourage you to do that regardless. Of course, I'm a little discouraged by the comment from the KP that it'd be a positive vote, and the town votes for it, you can certainly not act on it. In other words, the sentiment of the town may not mean enough to the board, and that is a rather frustrating thought, which I experienced last year with my petition to hire a tree warden. So I can end on that.
That's your
It's
timer.
just a conversation piece, and I will end with this. Reason for the Marceline petition: just to be forward-thinking, and being a forward-thinking person will have the mindset or approach that emphasizes planning for, anticipating, and actively shaping the future. It involves anticipating long-term consequences. It requires creating strategies. It is proactive imagination coupled with strategic preparation. And I can't claim the authorship of those words.
Thanks, Matt. I actually do agree with you on one subject. I have always thought it was somewhat insane in a place that emulated the founding Plymouth Bay Colony and the Mayflower Compact, that you can't instruct anybody at a town meeting or legislative action to do anything. You can only suggest it's a good idea and authorize them to do it. I cannot believe that's what they intended when they set up town meeting. But that's where we're at right now, and legal counsel keeps opining that you can only ever authorize, you can't instruct.
Well, at least we don't have an electoral college to deal with in this case, too.
That's an excellent idea. Further
So,
comments?
well, thank you.
Well, hold on.
That's it.
Your feet are still at the fire. Hold on. Comments?
No, I think we found out after the fact, but I was the one who brought to this board that we should at least explore it, and then we were told that it already went under agreement, but, I agree with your sentiments. We should have explored that piece of property. I think 17, 18 years ago, when the discussion was had, as much as, hindsight's a wonderful thing, we were just coming off failed override. The town was in some tough financial condition, and nobody had an appetite for it, to be frank. So, again, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but it just didn't, it wasn't the right time, at least for the folks who were involved at that period.
Well, I appreciate your comment, but, certain.
We can't get back into an interchange, there's not enough time.
Okay.
It's just you and then us.
Gotcha.
I will say that he's right, and the prevailing sentiment was, who needs a second golf course? I believe that was pretty much encapsulates the whole discussion. It's too bad Jeff wasn't here. Further comments? All right, again, you get to give your whole pitch to the town meeting in more depth. All right, who wants to make a motion?
I move that we support the evaluation for the acquisition of the former Marceline Salvage Yard, petitioner Matt Sutphin.
I'll second it if nobody wants to. So moved and seconded to support the petition article. Any further comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
I'm thinking.
There's no category for that.
I understand. I understand. I'm opposed.
Okay, so. 4-1. You were 4?
I was an aye.
Okay, so it's 4-1 with Jeff. Okay, thanks, Matt.
My thanks to the board.
If not symbolic, why not?
We do a lot of symbolic stuff. All right. Regulation of committee membership. Mr. Sutphin.
Yes, I think what I'll do is, I'll just read the warrant article to be perfectly clear with everybody. Thank you. This article would limit any person from serving as a voting member on more than one major town board or commission at the same time. Currently, select board members already follow this rule under section 372 of the Harwich Town Charter, which states, members of the Board of Selectmen shall be ineligible to serve as members of any appointive town agency, though they may participate as non-voting liaisons. This bylaw would extend the same principle to other boards, including the Planning Board, Zoning Board of Appeals, Conservation Commission, Board of Health, Historic District Commission, Community Preservation Committee, and Housing Trust. Boards may still designate a liaison to share information or participate in discussions without voting. This ensures committees can communicate effectively while keeping decisions independent and free of conflicts. I won't read the justification. Well, let me read a couple of things on the justification, and then I'll extemporize a little bit. The article would reduce the potential for conflicts of interest and the concentration of decision-making authority within town government. It can create real and perceived conflicts, particularly when boards regularly interact, review each other's work, or have overlapping regulatory responsibilities. Extending the same principle to other major boards and commissions creates consistency across town government and ensures that no single individual holds multiple voting roles that could compromise objectivity or public confidence. Now, I've had some suggestions that one is a little too stiff, that maybe I should have put two, letting people serve on two committees. I realize a comment coming forth will be that you have trouble filling committees. However, you've got 43 committees, and I don't think anybody, I think I could challenge anybody here to name 10 or 12, and they might have trouble doing it. So, two things would be accomplished by the limitation. One would be we would start to get rid of what I perceive as a cabal-like situation. There are several people that are always on committees, and effectively, be it intentionally or not, you've got your own, with these several people, a steering committee. You're not getting a fresh point of view, you're just getting their point of view. If it could be seen as a problem having just one or two committees to be served on by a person, you might look at it as the solution as amalgamating or merging some like committees, getting the 43 down to 26 or something like that. What that introduces is some fresh thinking, some fresh faces, and a lot of us who are looked at certain committees and think, well, they'd never have me on that committee, and I'm sure they wouldn't. So, but the point is, it takes away that thought, which is, I think, a good thing for everybody, because there's a freshness in taking away a situation where nobody feels like there's an entry ticket. So, that's my two-benefit idea. Follow your directive, which is limited committee participation, and the benefit of it would be that you would have to merge committees because you wouldn't have enough people to deal with the problem otherwise. So, that's in a nutshell.
All
And,
right.
and
Well,
if I may.
the nutshell just ended, didn't it?
If I may. Now, this is the confusing part for me.
You have 30 seconds left.
Okay. All right. Your KP law says the proposal cannot be accomplished by bylaw because it would conflict with the charter. Because the issue is specifically addressed in the charter, it is my opinion that any further changes to the qualifications of holding a position on an appointed board or committee may only be accomplished by the charter committee. Now, I don't get this. I don't
The
think.
charter is a superior document. The bylaws are derivative of a charter.
I understand that, but you do the hiring and the firing of committees.
Only within the constitution of the town.
I understand, but you're not going to the charter commission to ask to put people on committees.
They're suggesting that you should have.
Well, I'm saying that my lawyer here says that in Massachusetts, a charter amendment is not necessarily required to appoint boards or committees in general. The town charter establishes the basic framework for the town government as an open town meeting board of selectmen, town administrator system. The charter specifies explicitly, it explicitly states that the Board of Selectmen appoints members to these policy-making agencies and others existing at the time or later established unless otherwise provided. The Board of Selectmen has the general appointing authority for these boards and committees. Town meeting can enlarge and decrease membership of agencies by bylaw, but must keep to an odd number of voting. In other words, to finish it up, bylaws can be amended by a majority vote at town meeting without needing charter amendment, as long as they don't conflict with state law or the charter. Changing the fundamental method of appointment, shifting from Board of Selectmen, would likely require a charter amendment. This is because the charter itself vests appointment authority in the Board of Selectmen for enumerated agencies. In other words, you guys are the guys that call the shot, not the charter committee.
You done?
That's my statement.
Okay. Well, speaking as the former chair of the charter committee, I don't agree with you.
Okay.
So, having said that, I will say something positive because I note that Mr. McCaskill's online here. I cannot think of anything more unifying over the last 25 years than the statement that we have too many committees. Where we don't even understand exactly what they're always up to. We probably need a Hoover Commission of some sort here. But I will say, every time we try that, Aunt Minnie's on a committee that she feels is the most important committee that she's ever served on, and no one ever wants to eliminate a committee. So I'm counting on you when we have these discussions in the future to show up and say, somebody somewhere's got to take a stand.
Okay, well,
Because
thank you.
that's the fundamental problem, is that we've got so many committees that redundancy is almost guaranteed because there's only a certain number of people who have the elasticity in their lives to serve on committees. And unfortunately, that's where we're at right now. But I definitely agree with him. This is prescriptive. Anita was on the charter committee also. It's the framework and the hierarchy are charter, bylaw, selectmen. We can only operate under both of those. We don't get to make up anything that's prescriptive within the bylaws or the charter. So
Okay, well, I'll stand
with
corrected.
that, further discussion.
Have you gone to the charter?
No, I'm
commission?
going to go to them.
Okay.
This is, I'll work at any angle I
The
can.
commission's looking at a whole new charter. You might want to just show up and,
Well, I understand. Hopefully they won't be so protective of their own thoughts and will consider mine. If that's a diplomatic way of saying what the problem is.
And the reality is, we don't know what the final document will look like and whether or not it gets approved by the community anyway. So
Right.
it's worth at least going to them
Oh,
with your thoughts and ideas, and it sounds like it's probably the most appropriate way to handle this matter, but I happen to agree with you.
Well, thanks for your encouragement.
further comments?
Well, I don't disagree with the concept, Matt. But to Pete's point, I think, based on where we sit today and legal's opinion, which to me makes very clear sense, that the Charter Commission would be your next stop.
And I will say, that legal counsel did not happen to notice the one flaw that I can give you an example of right now, because yours is carte blanche. Under Mass General Law, the Housing Trust was established specifically enumerating that a select board member in a multi-board executive had to be a member. So if there's a conflict between our charter and Mass General Law's prescription,
That's where it is.
that's where it is. I mean, it isn't actually accurate that all positions cannot have a select board member in it either.
Okay, well, thank you for the clarity.
Just one thing. The only thing, Matt, and maybe you could make an amendment on town meeting floor. I had an example of somebody from the ZBA who is very conversant in the construction, wants to serve on the capital outlay. Certainly wouldn't want to disqualify him, but you may want to consider on town floor increasing it no more than 2 committees.
Thank you for that. Several people have said as much. I just took your kind of template, the one person as the basis for being here, but it's a sensible thing to do, and I'm sure I will. Thank you.
Okay, anyone?
I move that we support the regulation of committee membership as submitted by lead petitioner Matt Sutphin.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and second. My final comment is, I agree with Jeff, I agree with other sentiments that were made. I see where you're heading. I just think it's defective in a couple of areas, and don't give up on the thought, because if it doesn't make it this year, you have a real shot if you zero in on the form as well as the substance.
May I just read?
Sure, 30 seconds.
It seems to me that when people bring petitions forth to you, it might be they might be more quickly vetted by KP Law so that before you decide to put them in the warrant, so that the petitioner doesn't have to, go out and get a lawyer, and he can be, in fact, in a good position from the get-go versus saying, oh, we'll do it next year.
You bring up a very good point. Jay just showed up now. We were operating with all hands on deck, but not with a permanent town administrator, and I dispute how we actually handled this year as being the right way. We can certainly fix that, but we're at where we're at.
Yeah,
And-
okay, fair enough.
and
I'm
it
glad
took
to hear
a
you
lot
th-
to get here, so just be patient.
I appreciate what you
Okay,
said.
it's been
Thank
moved
you.
and seconded to support the article. Any further comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
But you're still.
Thank you. Yeah.
Tree
And
warden.
my last one, you're almost done with me. KP Law has put their position down, and the heading is hire a tree warden.
I believe you said designate.
Well, KP Law has hire.
I get that.
So, in this petition is really a backstop for Patrick. Last year, I made the mistake of putting a dollar amount in my petition, and of course, you as a board decided I should insist on your spending that money. So, while all the voters voted positively for it, and you'll recall that I came in about a month or 6 weeks later asking if, based on the sense of the vote, whether or not the board would work on the hiring of a tree warden this past year. That didn't happen, though there is the sense of the board. It goes back to KP Law just saying, well, the voters can vote one way, but it's not binding on the select board, and this is the perfect example of where the voters voted for a tree warden and you chose not to bind it. So anyway, this is a backstop. It requires no money, and it requires the recognition that the town has setbacks for a reason, and that because the town has the setbacks, they have a little bit to say about what goes on in the setbacks. And so my proposal is simply that if somebody wants to cut a tree down along a town road, only town road, that's within a setback, that they come before your board or a board that you would choose to discuss the merits of cutting a tree down. Because it doesn't take much to think through that if we're always going to cut trees down, South Street, 5 big trees were cut down in the last 2 months. If we're always going to cut trees down, it's going to be pretty naked on both sides of the road. We've got the electric company working one side of the street and the highway department working the other side of the street. I didn't bring in my slice of tree, which I meant to do this evening for the benefit of the town administrator. There was a tree outside in the front of this building last year that was cut down by the highway department because it had one dead limb. The whole tree was perfectly healthy. But the mindset is remove the tree, even if it's got a little problem with it somewhere, hence the need for a tree warden. And we're not there yet, but I figured if I could get you guys to decide on the merits of cutting the trees down in the setback, you might get tired of that and hire a tree warden. So that's my gambit.
Well done.
I've been trying to be there for you during the course of the year.
You voted for me last year. I want to put
Oh, I
that
mean
out.
for actual trees.
Oh, okay.
Questions?
No, I didn't bring all my fallen pines either, so, some that took down some power lines, so we may have a difference of agreement on this one, Matt. Sure, there can be some oversight. You know, we have a tree warden, that is the director of the DPW, that, he's been assigned that role, he was assigned that role 20 years ago. We may disagree in the manner in which he handles it, but he's been assigned that role and has had it for a long time. So to your point, you want someone else to have that title and act in that capacity, which I understand. That's not your petition today. Your petition is for the setback, as far as the regulations on the setbacks. And although I can respect it, I just don't agree with it.
I'll just say thanks again, Matt, and all the things Pete said, I would have to agree with, as well as Council opine that this is not a town meeting action, and it's a charter amendment.
But I will add that the DPW director works for somebody who works for us. So
Well, he doesn't have a qualified.
if a policy of the board is flipped over the next year or so, where we default towards trying to save the tree rather than cut the tree, I suspect that the tree warden would abide by that. It doesn't need a hammer to kill an ant.
That's right. That's right, but this town does have a hammer right now.
Okay. Further questions? Motion?
I move that we support the regulation of tree removal oversight as petitioned by Matt Sutphin.
Second.
Moved and seconded to support the tree removal oversight petition article. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, it's 1-4. Okay.
Thank you for
You're
your
done,
time.
but
Thank you, Matt.
make sure you keep your whereabouts known to us.
Oh, absolutely.
This has a really bad feel to it. Everybody, it feels like the Star Chamber. Everybody has to parade in front of us. It's the leaf, I think it's the leaf,
No, it's the leaf blower next.
yeah, it's the leaf blower.
Leaf blower.
It isn't you.
Ed Trembicki guy. Is he here?
Okay, as I said, we're only listening to the lead petitioner, so we'll have to hold back on that for next week. Regulation incentives for 40B projects, he's not here for that either.
Nope.
All right, we will re-invite him. It has to be the lead petitioner. Now you can get up and come. Bylaw to protect town funds and document development impacts.
Thank
Ron.
you. It's always fun to be here.
And
I
you
feel
are?
like I'm with a group of old friends.
And you are?
I am Lou Urbano. Since I'm glad to be here, you should know me.
I do, but not everybody does.
I know, thank you. These petitions first, the one that I'm going to talk about, basically, it's a financial petition. It has nothing to do with zoning, has nothing to do with anything else. It's strictly financial. It tries to accomplish one thing. If a development is being proposed and there are conditions to it, and those conditions refer to having to do some road work or so forth, that the town is made aware of what the extra costs will be, and the town gets to vote on it. Now, I'm going to say something about that right now, and I'm going to ask for your total attention.
Total attention. Come on.
When we say it goes to town, it brings up an interesting point to me that I just thought of early when I got here, standing or sitting here. When we talk about town funds, it's a legislative process. It's really, we have town meeting vote on capital plan, the budget, moving items within that. Town meeting does all that. But yet, when it comes to development and extra costs, we let that go aside. Now, let's use PO4 as an example. That requires road work. The road still needs to be fixed. We're not talking about its present. It's additional work that needs to be done. Does that stop the project? No. Does that say we have to spend the money? That's up to the town. Now, some people may say, those 400 people really don't care. They don't know enough. Well, I have to take the opposing point of view. I tend to think that those people know an awful lot. I tend to think that those people are protecting the money that they put in their tax dollars and are very aware and have the right to say yes and no. And also, when it comes to things like this, think of what it means if they say no. This is a very generous town. I have researched, I have found not one project that in any way touched affordable housing, and this is not about affordable housing, but I'll just state that, where this community has said no, but they deserve the right to say no. And that's what this petition is about. It doesn't cause any more work on the part of committees. It doesn't cause any more legislation. It's doing what they do. The only thing it does cause is, if additional work is required, then what will it cost? Now, it isn't a new petition. And as I looked through KP Law, I was surprised. I didn't see this in it. It would be like one of the first things that I would look for. Forgive me for saying that. I promised myself I would not pick on KP Law. And I am being very restrained on, as you all know. Cohasset, Massachusetts. Any funding for capital improvements or mitigation tied to new development must go to town meeting. Example, I won't even go over the examples. You guys can look it up. Concord, Massachusetts, Bedford, Massachusetts, Lexington, Massachusetts, and Carlisle. All of them have this. So it's not anything unique. And again, I'm surprised that that wasn't cited.
We have 1 minute left.
Thank you, ma'am. So I'll leave that 1 minute to questions. That's how brief I am.
Yeah, but you're going to come back again. I
You
know.
bet your butt.
Questions?
Start if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Lou, thanks for being here.
Hey, it's
Thanks for
always a
putting the
pleasure, Jeff.
petitions forward. 2 questions. All the examples you cited, are those developments or are those private developments without 40B attached to them, or are they 40B developments?
Jeff, I'll give you the sheet. You're welcome to look them up yourself. I can tell you this.
Lou, can I interrupt you? Can you pull that paper off the microphone?
Oh, darn. I tried to leave it on there on purpose.
We heard.
Project, Bedford, I just read that to you.
Just curious, are any of them
Projects?
40Bs?
I don't know. You're asking a question.
And the reason I asked that question, and I do believe we still have Brian in the audience here, but I'm not I'm a little unclear as to what you're asking. I've read it. I thought I knew what you were asking, and now the curveball comes in where you state you want to understand the cost of extra road work or construction that needs to be done.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what the petition says.
So with respect to POV4, and I only bring that up because you brought that
Right.
up, okay? The ZBA, if I'm not mistaken, is not capable of conditioning the developer to do any work outside of the
That
development.
is correct.
So where do you think we're going to get the public to weigh in on additional construction and road work?
Well, the whole argument at PVA was that we were going to put sidewalks in order to facilitate the project, that the road had to be extended in order to facilitate the project. So I don't think I'm coming up with anything out of the air, Jeff. It's pretty well known.
What road had to be extended?
This is not extended, widened. Sidewalks?
Inside their development?
No, outside their development.
Which road?
Depot.
Queen
Queen
Anne.
Anne, forgive me.
Queen Anne?
Yeah.
So that would be outside the development?
That is correct. This has nothing to do with the development.
I understand, that's my question.
Yeah, nothing to do with the development. This is,
Understood. Just wondering how we get there with what you're asking.
okay, no problem.
That's my point.
Interestingly enough, we're going to have a discussion tomorrow about how we're going to proceed with roadway capital improvements, because that, Brian has brought that up with me, and it's definitely a linchpin of things. The only thing I'm going to say is 40B is a peculiar beast because it comes from the mount on high. It is not us. It actually subverts local zoning to the point where even the magnitude gets inferred upon us, especially when the funding for the 40B comes from the same people on high, and they skew it towards big projects and do not allow small ones to get funded. So it's rigged. I get that.
Yep. Don, may I interrupt for 1 second?
There wasn't a question yet, though.
Yeah, because I've spent about 2 months working on this, especially 40B. You are absolutely 100% correct when it comes to the 4 squares under which 40B exists and their development. We're not talking about that. And by the way, we're not stopping the project should the town vote no. We're just saying, if the town votes no, and it's a condition that it has to be done, then the developer has to make a decision. Do they want to pay for it? Do they want to put money in? Do they want to help the town? It just it levels the playing field for the town and for the developer. It has nothing to do with the 4 squares, which is what you're talking about. This is outside. And the state law, 40B, has nothing to do with how town funds are used. That is totally up to the town and its town vote.
I tend to agree with you, but legal counsel doesn't.
I don't care, because is that the same, are you happy? I'm going to keep my.
That's the spirit.
Okay, sorry about that, but,
Yeah, but
again, I
guess
promise I'd be very, very, very calm.
Lou, I guess my position is you're treating the symptom and not the disease. The disease is the 40B process and the way it's been promulgated and the way it's been put into play. We are but a definition away from an RTA bus stop being designated the same as
You're
a
outside the
T-spot.
scope. You're outside the scope, and I'm going to be the moderator. You're outside the scope of the petition.
No, you're not.
Okay? You're outside the scope. This deal strictly has nothing to do with 40B. I used PO4 as an example. This is strictly town funds and how town funds are used. The developer sat right here, if I remember correctly, we'll use that example. And Pete, I think last week at Monday night's meeting, you said, why are we giving money to someone that says they don't need it? That means that PO4 has the money to fix the road itself if it has to be. Why is the town giving money to someone that says they don't want it? I don't understand. Can't that money be used for something that's very useful? Can't we use it for housing?
Your full argument will be available at town meeting.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, the presentation is over, though, because we have
Mr.
to.
Chair,
Thank you.
Yes.
if I could, just, Lou, as the no vote on the trust, I hear you. I hear the public. I understand. I'm trying to get my mind wrapped around how to get the public to weigh in on construction costs outside of a development that we haven't even, the town hasn't even got there yet to vet, to explore. I'm not saying we should or shouldn't, but at the end of the day, I don't know how we're going, I don't even know really what I'm trying to say here. I just
Well, I hear
don't
your
know
question.
how we're gonna vote on, how you're gonna have the public vote on something at town meeting when it could be something that's 10 or 15 years
Okay,
down the
well,
road.
let me reverse that, Jeff.
Lou, we don't have time for a debate
I just want,
on
and,
this.
and
He asked
Mr.
the
Chair,
question.
yeah, but.
I know, but
Lou,
that's a question for town
I
meeting.
asked it for you to think about for town meeting.
Okay, got it.
That's where I'm going with that, not for
It's a
tonight.
beautiful, you reverse what you just said.
Okay.
In your own mind.
All right.
But you still have the opportunity to make the pitch at town meeting with that in mind.
Yes, I understand totally.
Okay. Further discussion.
Make a motion?
Yep.
I move
Mr.
that-
Chair?
Mr. McCaskill, I know that voice
Hey,
everywhere.
thank you. Thank you for recognizing me. And welcome to the town of Harwich, Jay. The legal opinion on this, can that be made available to me tomorrow? Can that be emailed or put in the packet for next week for the public to read?
That's what we have here.
It's in the packet.
All we have is what's in the packet. You want us to email it to you?
Yeah, if you could.
Okay, sure.
And then just one quick point, I think, to where Lou's going with this, and don't get me started on 40B. The town will have the right, Lou, on that one specific thing that everybody mentioned. When that comes up for a capital request, the town can say no at town meeting.
All right, good, good.
Thank you, Michael. I'm assuming you're staying online for later.
Since Michael's, can I respond to Michael in terms of a positive?
Okay, quickly.
Michael, it would benefit, I believe, the developer if he knew up front, if he could, during the process of getting the permits, that he would have issues. It might be too late later on. This way, he's ahead of it. He's almost.
No, Lou, I was saying, and Don, I apologize, I know you don't want any back and forth. What I'm saying, Lou, is that we will have an opportunity to say no, and when you speak of this developer, Pine Oaks 4, they have demonstrated through the entire process that they do not care what you or anybody else besides themselves and their few supporters care about. They use 40B to go around the town. We have no say. This argument should be being made to a different governing body.
Right. Sounds good.
Thank you, both of you. Motion.
I move that we support the bylaw to protect town funds and document development impacts by lead petitioner Lou Urbano.
Second.
Moved and seconded to support the petition article. Any further comments? Hearing none,
Just
all in
real brief if I could, Mr.
I
Chair.
didn't want one, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
I know, that's why I'm doing it. So conceptually, I agree with Lou's thought process. I think, this probably does need to be modified in some fashion, but I understand where he's coming from and the desire to have a more thoughtful dialogue with the townspeople when it comes to either providing funds or providing credits to developers. So I appreciate the approach. I think we probably need to modify something, but agreed.
My thoughts exactly, so.
Mine as well.
All right, the motion is to approve the article, or recommend approval of the article. All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? It's 05. That doesn't mean that you didn't hear the sentiment up here, so keep working at it.
Oh, I'm not going to stop.
Something tells me you're not. Oh, you're up again. Look at that. Yeah, you are.
Yeah, he is.
You were on.
Okay, I thought you were writing, I'm sorry.
I actually did my homework with the radio and the TV on when I was in school, so you're misreading me.
Well, this petition is for to revise that housing trust. And I'm just going to read the first two paragraphs, if I may. To see if the town will vote to amend the Harwich Housing Trust bylaw to prioritize programs that assist first-time homebuyers, seniors, veterans, essential workers, and other eligible populations who live in Harwich or seek to live and work in Harwich. And further, to authorize the trust to provide down payment assistance, rental subsidies, and other housing support programs for teachers, police officers, firefighters, healthcare workers, municipal employees, and other essential workers. What this, and the important part on why I wanted to read that is the word prioritize. It's not shall. It's not will only function to. It is in addition to their present functions. And prioritize means if I have $10 and I have 2 projects, and this is going to be $11 and I only have 10, I might have to prioritize. That's all it means. There's nothing more than that. The second part is just to demonstrate, here's where all the funding is, because funding for the trust comes from various areas. Here's where it is. And when it goes out from all these various areas. So it defines that. The point that is interesting in this article is that town vote is needed after the trust says they will extend funds to a developer. Someone's going to say right then and there, well, that's not why the trust was found. It was due to make things go faster and work faster. Well, it takes 2 to 3 years to get approval. There's plenty of time to get the town meeting and have town vote. It's very difficult to have a process where only a few members decide where millions of tax dollars go. It's much easier to have the town say yes. And I say again, if we say that the town wants affordable housing, you can't find too many people in this town that say they don't want it. Then why is there such a fear of going to town meeting? I can't level that in my own mind. The two don't make sense, because that's the only reason you'd object. I don't think that the town has a problem in affordable housing, maybe in some. But you know, if this happens again, if the town votes for this petition, every developer that wants money, because I heard earlier someone say something about a variance or something, and they're asking for something and we should get something back. Well, it's the same thing with money. They're asking for our funds and we should get something back. It levels the playing field. It says to the developer, you got to be careful. We don't have that now. We have emotion speaking. We have the rules. The rules are very, very limited in terms of, does this meet the financial criteria of affordable housing? Therefore, cost per building of a unit and allocation to it. Got it. I'm not doing bad. 1 minute's a long time. Take your finger off that clock.
That remains to be seen. We'll see.
45 seconds.
Yep.
So this is, the key element here is, do you trust the town or not? Because if you don't, that's what this vote is about. It's not about the housing trust. It's not about affordable housing. It's not about, do we need affordable housing? It's about, we want affordable housing for our town. Trust, do your job, get it. And report. Because if you start saying that I want firemen, policemen, healthcare workers to be helped, well then maybe the project in West Harwich that has police and fire, maybe some of those people will get some additional funds in the market rate units also to help our citizens. There's a lot of benefits. So I urge you to please think about this.
Questions from the board?
Oh,
That cute sound was the end of your time.
oh, I know, but it was not the end of my looking.
I have a few things to say. I'd like to hear other board members, though. If anyone else has anything else to say.
Well,
No?
two things. First, It is my great pleasure, because I don't get to do this very often, to point out that KP Law's memo is legally defective.
Thank you.
Because they quote a town meeting action that didn't take place when they say it did. So with that, I'll move along to another point. There is a difference between what you're asking for, a designation on a theoretical level, and the practical problem that you have, and this is why I brought up the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. I hate they keep adding words. But it's rigged because, not only because of the magnitude of what they want, and I've said before, put it in a simpler way, that we don't accept big box stores. I'm not sure why we are accepting big box housing, because that's not the Cape. But more importantly, the financial mechanism is against you. Because to the extent that any of these corporations, and I'm trying to parse like Pine Oak's board of directors is not the people who are building this. They're not the developers. There's a company that's developing it, and that's where the money actually goes. When you accept HUD financing tells you that somebody who's eligible within the confines of the area median income designation, say it's 40%, you have to accept them, even if they're coming from Montana. You put them on a list, and when you get to that spot, they designate that their funding has those strings. And I find it humorous that KP Law has actually tethered one portion of their presentation into accepting the seasonal communities bylaw. The seasonal communities bylaw change gives you this much benefit as a town with this much obligation. So
Don, Dave
we'd want to think really long and hard before we accept that. But the money itself has strings attached to it. Even the state money that comes from NHP designates that the state is the eligibility zone, so that you can't restrict it to Cape Cod unless it's funded by us specifically
Don, I
for the
think you're-
purposes you're talking about.
Read the petition then.
I did.
Because we're missing the point here. The petition doesn't stop anything from happening. The petition says that, Mr. Fireman, you're 80% AMI. You qualify, therefore you can have the special program. It doesn't say, Mr. Fireman, you're making $250,000, and so I'm going to put you in and give you some benefits. The laws of the state are the same. They don't change. These programs are just in addition for some who might fit. Because personally, I can't tell you how many times I've sat in this room and heard, my kids can't afford to live here. Well, then let's do something about it. Just folding our arms and saying, and this has nothing to do with 40B. These are two separate.
But Lou, they're not, because the financing is prescriptive as to geography, it's not just what you make, it is also where you live and whether you're eligible to participate in the lottery. Because of that, we are in the conundrum we're in right now. What we really need is a total rethinking at the state level of how they're approaching 40B. This puts a Band-Aid on something that requires surgery.
Don, may I say something?
Quickly.
I'm listening to KP Law. What I'm proposing is, tell me how what you have and what you just said right now doesn't apply to every housing project we're putting in. It applies. Just stay within the four corners of this petition in your thought process. It has nothing to do with the state law or anything else. One, it has to do with, do citizens have the right to vote on their own money? Right now, 3 people out of 5 can say yes. Step number 1. That's all it does. Leave it there. Step number 2, we need additional housing programs. And we'd like the Housing Trust, the word like, to start thinking and prioritizing those. That's what this petition says. It doesn't say the Housing Trust must, because if they can't, I don't see anything in this petition that says that there's any recourse on the town's part if they don't prioritize.
Okay, Got it. Except their prioritization can only be up to 120% of AMI. They are not legally empowered to
And
do
that's
anything
fine.
beyond that.
What, and know what's asking them to do that?
Well, you just said it applies to everything. Jeff?
Lou, I'm gonna take 30 seconds of my time to give you a deep breath moment.
Thank you, sir, I
You're
appreciate
welcome,
it.
yes. I truly appreciate your passion, your work, your effort you put into this. You and I have had a lot of conversation about this. I, for one, like the concept of having town meeting be able to determine where all their tax dollars go. I'll start by saying that. You, in your article, the words transparency, prioritize, I get that, right? I really do. I don't think we have a transparency issue. I'm not gonna go down the road, Mr. Chair, of why I think everything I'm thinking right now. Everything is done out in the open. Whether you like the end of the road where the votes happen is not an issue of transparency. Prioritize. I 100% agree that we should be helping the people who are here and not bringing people from off Cape here to compete with the people who are already here and that have housing insecurities. So prioritization for me is paramount. But if you boil this down right to the dirt, what I'm hearing from you in this article is that you want the public to have the final say as to how the trust spends money. That's what I'm hearing. And I don't disagree with that. I don't push back to that, okay? The Affordable Housing Trust by nature is tethered to 40B because it is the Affordable Housing Trust. I've read KP Law's opinion. I came in here not knowing which way I was going to vote on this, but I'm heavy to the side of agreeing with you. I've listened to your position on this. If it's appropriate, Mr. Chair, I'd like to punt this one week or 2 weeks, because I'd like to have a conversation with KP Law about a couple of things. And again, if the board doesn't
We
want
don't
to
have
do
to go
that.
any deeper than that because,
Yeah.
as an expediency. Does anybody have any objection to holding this discussion about supporting this article for 1 week?
Do we have to give Lou 5 more minutes?
No.
No.
Matter of fact,
I think he'll want 10.
That might
Matter of
sway
fact,
my
we-
vote. That might mean I want you back, right?
let's not even tell them when we're doing it, to be quite honest with you.
All right.
Give them the wrong date.
As a matter of privilege, we'll withdraw this and we'll have the discussion again next week then.
Thank
I
you.
hope you appreciate what I'm doing. I want to look into
do.
this a little bit more.
Also, you might, I'll send you
Sure,
this if
and I
I may
want
in
that,
public.
I send it to the board.
Perfect, I'll do that, so you can all look it up and see what other towns are doing.
No one's talking about, they're presenting their things they want in the town warrant.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for saying that because that's exactly what we're doing. Your mic needs to be muted.
Curious. Thank you for that, Mr. Chair, and the rest of the board. I
Thank you.
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate the board. Thank you for,
Know how to get back here again,
do I have to come back next week?
if you want to.
We'll give you 10 minutes next week.
Don't.
You know, it's easier at town meeting when everybody else is helping you.
Yeah, but Michael has a clock that doesn't go past 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Should we do a wellness check on Jay? He hasn't said anything.
Good. I'm
Okay,
good.
you're good. All right.
People are texting me asking if I'm still gonna come tomorrow.
All I can say to you is our policy is the more you hear, the worse it gets.
Why not?
Middleborough Select Board just made him an offer.
No, Rick White is there tonight.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Isn't that funny? The world goes around.
See, when we were recruiting you, it's like dating. We were always at our best.
Yep.
Now you're seeing how we really are. All right. Update on town meeting budget timeline. Wait a second. We got a bunch of things that we got to do. Who's here for the discussion of the draft letter? Okay, I assume some people online are too. I'm going to pull them out of order and have the review of the draft letter regarding the real estate transfer taxes. This is going to be limited to the actual letter. We had a full discussion last week about this, and if a discussion needs to be had at the Assembly of Delegates, I'm sure that they can have one on their own. I am not going to have this set up as a debate with one delegate member against whatever's being said here, because we have our position, they have theirs, and I don't remember them inviting us to partake in their discussion. I don't recall, and you're not in order. So I'm just telling you that we're not going to have a rebuttal for everybody who speaks. With that being said, we have a draft letter in the packet. Did everybody have a chance to read it?
Yes.
Going to first go to our members. Anybody have any problems with it?
Well done, Mr. Chair.
All right. Now, who would like to speak to the letter? And I want this to be succinct, and I want it to be to the letter itself and to the policy. It will go to the Senate President, it will go to the Speaker of the House, and those are the two bodies that it has to be marked up and held for consideration for whether or not they're going to grant the home rule. So who would like to speak relative to the actual article?
Good evening again, Patrick Ott in East Harwich. I wish to speak to the transfer tax on sales of property over $1 million. I have two questions. Why is Harwich at the bottom of the list of land under conservation? We have less than 20.
You're out of order. It has absolutely nothing to do with conservation.
You wouldn't let me speak earlier.
Because it has absolutely nothing to do with conservation land. The transfer tax is specifically for
Let me finish.
regional housing.
Why is an ex-Harwich employee from the assessing department having a street named after her in a high-end residential development? Let's take that 3% tax and put it into the land bank and town purchase owners unknown and taxes owned property and put it to conservation. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Again, the transfer tax is for over $1 million, and it's presumably, and I'm confused about it myself, it's presumably that the towns would get the money back through the county, that they collected, although there'll be a management board. So I raised certain issues in the letter that were representative of what we discussed last week. And I don't believe the delegate member believes that there's substantial pushback on this transfer tax. So this is your moment to say something if you're a member of the community and want to be heard.
Good evening, Sally Urbano, West Harwich. I wasn't really going to say anything. I did send you a letter, but absolutely, I read your letter. I think it's great. Do it. Thank you.
Hey, Lou, take a note, would you?
Well done.
It's a tough crowd. My name is Aaron Schwab. I'm from Barnstable, and I came out tonight to applaud you for drafting the letter and making it aware of the fact that we intend to send it to every town on the Cape, and encourage everyone to send the letter, because we do not feel that tax is supported by the majority of the folks on the Cape. I'm currently running for county commissioner. I'm spending a lot of quality time at the transfer stations around the Cape. And I can tell you that 85 to 95% of the people I speak with are with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Richard.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Welcome to our new town administrator, Richard Waystack from Harwich. I written you a letter a couple weeks ago about my opposition to this tax on high-value real estate. It's not the solution. But more importantly, the way that this was done was wrong. We've had a policy in this community, whether it's official or unofficial, that when enabling legislation is done for a home rule petition, it goes through a process where it's vetted with this particular board, and then it's vetted at town meeting. We and the Board of Assessors have done that 3 times successfully, utilizing that same policy. Why I totally disagree with the tax on high-value real estate, because it does not solve the problem of housing. I have more of a problem with the lack of process that was utilized to send this to the Senate. So I appreciate your letter, and I appreciate the work you've done.
I see Mr. McCaskill staring me in the face on the screen. Would you like to say anything?
Thank you, Don. No, I would just echo the previous speaker's comments. Great job on the letter, directed to the right place without the extras, and you did a great job.
Thank you.
Jen, can you get that in the minutes?
It's one of the very few times people love what I write.
I agree with Pete. Keep it in the minutes.
Hi, Teresa Johnson, North Harwich. Thank you to the Select Board members for writing the letter regarding the State House, expressing that the Harwich taxpayers do not want this proposed transfer tax, even though our Harwich delegate voted for it, that we wanted it. Our delegate did not hold any public input meetings, nor was it discussed with the Select Board. We need a Harwich delegate that listens to what the Harwich taxpayers want and votes that way, because we certainly don't want more taxes. For most of us, our homes are our biggest asset in life. My husband and I have both worked 2 to 3 jobs to afford our home in Harwich while raising our family. When we decide to downsize, we want to be able to get the most equity out of our home. We don't want to lose up to 4% on the sale of our home to this proposed transfer tax for affordable housing. The average homes are already almost close to $1 million threshold for this transfer tax. We already pay 3% yearly of our real estate taxes for affordable housing support, and now this proposed transfer tax wants up to 4% to go, more money, taxes to go towards affordable housing. Please, no more taxes, and thank you very much for writing that letter.
Tom, do you want to say something? You're just stretching. Okay, this is your opportunity, though. Further comments? The letter is in the packet as a draft. I wrote it for consideration by the board, but it needs the board's approval.
So moved, yes. Second.
Okay, further discussion on the letter itself. It would be much more impactful, and I anticipate it this way so that I let everybody know what's going to transpire if you approve this. It's going to have 5 signature blocks rather than just empowering the chair. It's the entire board that's going to sign the letter, as is if you vote it. And it's, as I said, it's designated.
Stop.
I get that a lot at home. Anyway.
Want to know.
Anyway, what ultimately will occur is it'll go to 2 places because, as I said, it needs to be marked up. It needs to go through the state legislature. It's not going to the Assembly of Delegates. I was slightly off-put by an email that talked about whether or not, once it's shared with the Assembly, whether it's worth their while to even have a discussion with us over it. I think it's always worth everyone's while in a government to have discussions, and that's why we're having this one in 2 different open sessions. So, with that, the motion has been made to keep the letter as is, put the 5 signature blocks in it. I'm sorry, we're not going to go there. You're not recognized, Elizabeth. You
asked for public
I
comment
did not.
about the
I said
letter,
you had
and
your
then you
shot last week.
besmirched.
You had your shot last week.
I did not have
You
a
are
shot.
out of order.
You did not listen to a word I said.
Out of
It was
order.
an attack.
You are out of
Did
order.
nothing but denigrate me and the Assembly of Delegates.
Denigrated the town.
That letter
Please sit
is
down.
hysterical.
Please sit down. I didn't want to violate the 10 months of going without using a gavel, for anyone who hasn't recognized that. Okay, motion's been made. Any further comment? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. So please set that letter up. All right, now we can go backwards again. Town meeting budget timeline capital plan is,
I think we're good for tonight, honestly. We just had a little conversation. I think we'll probably just punch a bunch of this through next week.
mercifully.
Yeah. As far-
I thought we'd give you more than,
No, other than the.
no, I thought we'd give you more than 8 hours.
Thank you. The discussion regarding the article numbering, I don't know if you want to jump onto that real quick.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. You know what, Mr. Chair, may I make a comment?
Yes.
I request right now that Mrs. Harder step down from the Assembly of Delegates effective immediately, and I would hope that this board does not entertain any reappointment. Her behavior is obnoxious, and this is not who I think this public wants to represent this community going forward. One more day. I yield.
I understand that you don't like me, Jeff.
It's not that I don't like you.
You've made that clear.
I don't like your
for
actions.
years.
I don't like your actions.
I don't work
And that's it.
for you.
Oh, that's clear.
I was not appointed by you.
Let her keep going, Mr. Chair,
I was voted
please.
by the town. If they want me out, they vote me out. You don't tell me to resign. You showed absolutely no respect to me or the Assembly on March 2nd. Absolutely none. The reason I am so mad, Mr. Schwab, is he accused me of taking bribes, and I won't stand for that. I do what I do because I love it and because I do care about this
You
town.
apologize to Mr. Frederickson for lying?
I did indeed.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did
On the
indeed
record. Thank you.
apologize.
Point of
please.
order.
I did indeed apologize. But the fact of the matter is,
You have 30 more
the
seconds.
Assembly of Delegates doesn't, the reason we were going to comment was if we thought that we could, that you would listen to our comments about what's correct and what's incorrect. You made it very clear on March 2nd that you don't give a damn what anyone on the Assembly or what I think, even though we're a different body of government. We're county. We're not just Harwich. That's not my job.
Okay, and that's it.
So-
And that is it, Elizabeth.
I'm not, you can't make me step.
It was a request on your part. I didn't
All right.
say to do it.
I will say that the matter of respect part is a reciprocal one, and they showed absolutely no respect to us. So with that, and by the way, Elizabeth, I tried very hard to not personalize this. My comments were limited towards the Assembly of Delegates showed absolutely no respect to the local town. You're not coming back to speak again because I will not recognize you.
Then don't.
I'm sorry, this is my meeting, not yours. And I was elected to actually not only be here, but to be chair for this organization. And as such, you're not being recognized again. We have the letter, it's been approved, we're going to move on. All right?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, so the annual town meeting article, same thing, punting?
No, Mr. Chair.
What?
This is where we want to make.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So we do have to do one thing because the position one of the individuals who participated in the vote wants to change that vote, requires us to make a motion first to reconsider it. And it has to be on the prevailing side, which I
Yes.
believe you were.
I will, Mr. Chair, thank you. Mr. Chair, I move that we vote for reconsideration regarding CPC Article Number 4, as presented in the packet of the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust.
Can you explain what that is so that the folks in the peanut gallery have an idea?
I sure can. It is, in short, it is a vote to support the funding of the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust. You want the amount, don't you? Six, I gotta go. I'd have to go.
Funding request from CPC.
Funding request for CPC.
Funds, okay.
Yes, correct. Thank
All
you.
right, so this is a reconsideration vote. All in favor of the reconsideration? Aye. Any opposed? All right, now we have no position, you can make a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to support Article CPC Number 4, the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust.
For their request
For their
for
request for
funds.
funds.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to support the request for funding. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
It's 4-1.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We need to take note about who it is. So it's Pete. Okay. Article numbering, I would, I'll punt to Jay, but I would think if you give Jay and I an opportunity to come up with some sort of rough order so that it's not the Wild West when we come in here and present it to you, and you can move things around as you see fit. But we did do something last year that I'd like to continue doing. Instead of having all the petition articles at the end where pretty much only petitioners are still present in the meeting, that we sprinkle them around, especially with regard to where the budget was, so that there'd still be plenty of people who are neutral participants that can actually engage in the discussion, rather than just being a partisan thing. So if that's the consensus of the board, we'll come up with some sort of order
Sounds
for
good.
the.
We'll probably have to, over the next 2 weeks here, we'll have to get pretty heavy with voting recommendations, but I don't think we need to do that tonight.
All right, so, new business. Let me just see. We're pulling port on everything or just on entertainment?
So Port is just on for entertainment renewal. They haven't submitted their liquor renewal yet.
No, I mean, this is Vittler's.
I don't think you need to pull anything.
No.
Well, we do once it gets entertainment, because we're not going to act on it tonight.
Board's decision, not mine.
Right, but for the Vittlers, we don't need to pull anything.
That's true. That's why I'm asking. So, motion.
I move, Mr. Chair, that we approve the following 2026 seasonal common vittlers license renewals. AJG Corporation, DBA Weather Deck Restaurant, 168 Route 28. Port Restaurant and Bar Incorporated, DBA The Port, 541 Route 28. Blue Stripe LLC, DBA Cape Sea Grill, 31 C Street. Saquatucket Snack Shack LLC, DBA Dockside Cafe, 715A Route 28. 554 Street Bar, DBA Three Monkeys, 554 Route 28. And, excuse me, MT Group, DBA Mad Minnow Bar and Kitchen, 554 Route 28.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the Vittler's licenses as read. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the following 2026 seasonal amusement license renewals. AJG Corporation, DBA Harbor Glen Mini Golf, 168 Route 28, weekday and Sunday. And 2, Hall Carts Incorporated, DBA Bud's Go-Karts, 9 Sisson Road, weekday and Sunday.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the 2 seasonal amusement license renewals. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Before we do C, I'm going to read you the succinct letter we got from Dina Brown, who is counsel for the port. She can request. We don't have to actually abide by that, because there is a mechanism to appeal. She says in her email, in its entirety, then I kindly request that a vote of the port's application be postponed to March 30th, 2026 meeting. After it was stated that we could vote on any item on the agenda. Again, I mean, either way, they have the right of appeal. So,
Is there a reason for the request?
yeah, I have a feeling that she was presupposing an action that she probably was right to presuppose, because I have strong feelings. She had made a mention of the fact that there hasn't been any complaints about them recently, and I concur. The reason being that we changed the actual nature of their license to acoustic so that there wouldn't be any more concerns relative to the noise outside. I would recommend that we take action, and that we take action to only approve that which we have already previously approved as conditions.
Can I ask a follow-up, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Was there an explicit reason in her request, or it was just a generic request to extend it until a certain date?
I'll read you the entire paragraph that started the chain. I understand that the hearing on the Port's entertainment license application is scheduled for this evening. As you know, the issuance of the entertainment license is of great importance to my clients. The Select Board and I have had discussions with regard to parity throughout the town in the issuance of these licenses, and I was told that the topic would be brought up in a broader manner within the board. I am not sure if that ever occurred. I sent a letter to you and the town administrator, Tony Schiavi, with what I thought were good suggestions to assist the town in its decision-making. Unfortunately, I never received a response to that letter. I attach it again here and ask that you share it with the entire board this evening and postpone the hearing on the entertainment license for the Port to the meeting on March 30th, 2026. I'm unable to attend the meeting this evening as I have a Board of Directors meeting for the Cape Wellness Collaborative, of which I am Vice Chairman. Unfortunately, neither Judd Brackett or Griff Brackett are in the state. I do believe that the board would be prejudiced if this license hearing was continued it says would be prejudiced, if this license hearing was continued for a period of 2 weeks in light of the circumstances. Oh, I do not believe. It is important that I attend. Thank you for consideration. And I would expect nothing less from her representing the interests of her client. But again, she can't presuppose what we're going to do with other licenses. This was a hellish period of 6 months. We did not get into a deeper dive into a zoning or a noise bylaw that would accommodate some of what we're saying. But the fairness issue, we have yet to take action on some other requests in proximity, and she has no way of knowing that we'll approve them. So with that,
Mr. Chair, I think it would also be important to note that the email came in after hours this evening, after 4:30. So
Which, the email the chair
that
just
email
read?
that he just read came in this evening.
Not the first email that they sent.
The email that he just read came in at 4:30 this evening.
But is that the same email that they're
oh yeah,
claiming was sent?
March 16th, 4:31 PM was the first one.
I can't
Then
speak
there was
to
an
the first
exchange,
email.
and then
The
another one
request for
came
the
in at
continuance came in at
4:56.
Okay, thank you.
Again, it's just a suggestion, but I would suggest that we approve any of these entertainment bylaws with the same times and restrictions as have been previously imposed on the licenses. If in fact any of the people feel aggrieved, they always have the authority to come back and request a hearing from the board, which requires us to put a notice in the newspaper for 2 weeks and then have a real public hearing.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, I honestly, I understand the request came in after hours. I have no problem waiting until the 30th, if that's what she really wants. But that's just my opinion.
But she's not asking for a public hearing.
Oh, no, I understand that. She's just asking us to hold off our decision until the 30th, and I'm fine with that, if that's what she would like. But again, that's just my opinion.
Mr. Chair, if I may say so, I think what would be really good for us to have, and the requesters, is the abutters have done quite a bit of research in terms of entertainment licenses throughout the Cape. I think it would be a good idea to have I have a copy, and I think I shared with you, the chair, but all of us to have that copy, and also the license holders in Howardsport. So we all know some of the research that we've all done. I'd like to have us see what the proponent has.
You can do that, but we are not going to entertain changing the entire construct for this go-round. There's not enough time. These are individual conditions placed on individual licenses that we have, and none of these are new requests. These are continuations based on experience. I'll say the same thing if Dina gets right in front of us, that by experience, we impose certain restrictions, and those restrictions mitigated to a great degree the complaint structure that was going on. In absent any changes in the overall noise bylaw situation, which we cannot and will not be able to accomplish prior to these licenses being issued this year, we have to go with the ground rules that we have. And those are nice, but they're not going to count.
Just, if I could, Mr. Chair, one other question. Will we be able to address the issue of parity that was brought up last year?
I expect that. As a matter of fact, there's one entity that's in close proximity to them that's had 2 complaints now, And we are probably going to act in the same manner with them when their license comes up, or at least I'd recommend that, because the only mechanism we have is going either outside acoustic or outside amplified. And outside acoustic has proven to work. We had a few, and I've discussed this with a number of people. I discussed it with Jay, discussed it with Tony, and I discussed it with Joe. The fact of the matter is, parity is only one way of looking at this. Behavior is another way of looking at this. If we have people who have shown through their behavior that have been able to abide by a modest amount of amplification outside, I'm okay with granting them that, up to the point where they show that they can't be responsible doing it the way they've done it in the past. And it's a privilege. It is not something that they are mandated to have. So, number one, I absolutely, and I've been a real big supporter of this, I absolutely feel like we need to delineate what it is we're trying to accomplish zone-wide, but we have to be able to at least acknowledge layers of behavior. If somebody's behaving one way and somebody's behaving another way, I am not in favor of treating them both the same. And I don't think anybody should, because there's no incentive for anybody to behave then. You wind up with a set of rules, and they either live by them or they don't. And through experience, we have a set of rules right now that have vastly reduced the number of complaints that we've had in that area. We can wait, but I'm going to feel the same way. I mean, and I hope that the rest of you will feel the same way, because I would hope that the folks in the community will come out and object to us allowing more of what was there before, which was the Wild West. I mean, let's be honest, it looked like Daytona Beach during spring break. When they had the tent up in the parking lot, there was absolutely no concern for the public at that point. And despite the fact that an allegation was made that they were all behaving themselves and there were no complaints or anything, we had five lawsuits going against us in federal district court, state court, county court, the ABCC, and they played out a string of every single appeal that they could possibly do. So it took almost 5 years to get to the point that we had originally imposed a penalty, and even that wasn't the penalty we were imposing. So justice delayed is justice denied, as far as I'm concerned. I thought somebody wise said that once. And whatever we do, I hope, is going to be pinned to the behavior of the requester.
If I could, just one more comment. Whatever standards we develop, they should be objective and not subjective, and not open us up to further legal action.
Which is why, when it comes to the person who's in proximity, I'm going to recommend that we change their license approval because of behavior and demonstrated inability to have the extra amplification. We also might want to look, and it's muddying the water, but I asked a while ago where the license restrictions came from, because it looks like something you could drive a bus through. The idea of having a speaker in a window of an establishment for a stereo receiver having low-level music is right out there with dancing performers. What you're approving are so many disparate items. I'm not sure how we got to this point, but we really want to examine what it is so that it's narrow as possible, not as wide as possible. So whatever anybody wants to do, that's fine. Again, I'm not going to feel any differently when we get there, absent any criteria, because this has to do with, we solved a problem. I'm not going to go back to making it a problem again.
Absolutely.
So what do we want to do?
If I may, Mr. Chair, I'm happy to move this to the 30th, if that's what the applicant requested. Months ago, we had a discussion to have a broader discussion. I would have preferred to have had that by now. I know we haven't, and I know why. So I'm not placing blame on any particular reason. But this is important, and I think we need to have a larger discussion, at least this year, moving into next year's renewals. So I'm happy to move this to the 30th if that's the board's pleasure.
I don't disagree, but we're not going to come up with any criteria whatsoever that's going to affect this license this year.
Well, then I'll add one more question to this. And the reason I'm happy to move it to the 30th is because I'd like to take a look at other entertainment licenses after this discussion and see if there's anybody in the Harwich Port area that has what the applicant is requesting. And I understand your position, which is, past history, proximity. treat every-
Behavior.
Behavior, understood, and I just would like to look into it a little bit more if I could,
Okay.
after this discussion.
Mark feels the same way?
I'm fine with that, yes.
Anita?
I'd like to hold it until the 30th, yes.
Okay, we'll hold it. But we still have other license requests.
Okay, let me just hold on.
You got it, Mark?
Yeah, hang on.
Jen, are these the same as last year for Seagull?
You have the matrix in front of you.
I know, but without reading it out loud to the public.
Yeah, I believe they were the only ones that asked for anything different,
Okay.
was the
They're
board.
Actually, right, it's an hour sooner.
Yep, so they are, asking to reduce by an hour.
Last year was till midnight. This one's requesting 11 PM.
Yep.
Jen and Doug want to go home, and so do I.
Okay. Well,
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the seasonal entertainment license renewal of Blue Stripe LLC, DBA Cape Sea Grill, 31 C Street. Weekdays from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. inside, jukebox, radio, and television, and Sunday from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. inside.
Second.
moved and seconded to approve as on the agenda for Cape Sea Grill. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move we vote to approve the following 2026 seasonal on-premise liquor license renewals. Saquatucket Snack Shack LLC, DBA Dockside, 715A Route 28. AJG Corporation, DBA The Weather Deck Restaurant, 168 Route 28. And 3, the Belmont Condominium Beach Club, DBA The Beach, 1 Belmont Road.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the seasonal on-premise liquor license requests as noted. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. I can't express anybody's conflict of interest. They have to do it themselves. So, Anita, you just want to,
Right, I am going to be abstaining from the,
not abstaining, recusing.
recusing myself, okay? I'm going to recuse myself from the next vote because I am the president of the Harwich Historical Society, and we're asking for a one-day liquor license.
Mr. Chair, I move we vote to approve a special permit application for Harwich Historical Society for one-day liquor license, wines and malt for an event to be held on May 16th, 2026, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at 80 Parallel Street.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to approve the Historical Society for a one-day liquor license as noted. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's 4-0.
On condition that they did a background check on the applicant.
Are you doing the board?
Mr. Chair, I move we vote to approve a special permit application for Big Sound Productions for a one-day entertainment and one-day liquor license, wines and malt for an event to be held on April 13th, 2026, from 4 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at 204 Sisson Road.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to approve the big sound production request. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. You're on a roll here, Mark.
Okay, where am I here?
I don't know. D.
Well, this is a discussion on extending storm damage for brush-free waivers.
We have a policy, and Pete loves this, that we actually found. We were trying to abide by.
I was blown away, thank you.
Having said that, however, because of the nature of this wasn't like a hurricane or anything. A lot of people didn't even know what they were looking at until the storm started melting away and they found tree limbs, or in my case, found one on top of a car. So,
Were you in it?
though many people wish I had been, no, I was not. That's why I'm still here. Whoever it was didn't do the job. So, having said that, I thought it was a reasonable request, but Link cannot act on it unless we approve the request here as an exception to the policy. But we are not abandoning the policy. This is an exception for this storm at this point for people to come in. And it's only people who are private residents. They are not, it does not cover corporations or companies or landscapers coming in with it. It's only for people bringing their own debris in.
Just one thing, I did notice in Yarmouth, they had an argument at that, because people were just trying to flood there with delivering brush. But a lot of seasonal homeowners have a lot of trees down, they probably haven't come down, won't be coming down for a little while. Maybe tough to them, but maybe just a thought for them, because as you go around town, you'll see loads of brush around, no cars there, so that means to me they're seasonal restaurants, they're not here, and when they get down here, they're gonna have that situation.
Well, Caesar Restaurant wouldn't count.
And he has a pickup. Go pick them
A
all up.
seasonal resident.
Mr. Chair,
I would invite those folks to register in this town and become full-time residents.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
a motion to extend the storm damage brush fee waiver until Sunday, March 29, 2026 for Harwich residents.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to extend the forgiveness period, March 29th. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, just for context, just wanted to, I had the opportunity to speak with Sean Libby today, and he wanted to let the board know that as of this morning, we had 1644 tickets for disposal at the transfer station, 340 tons of brush. Pretty good usage. He definitely supports the additional 2 weeks. Obviously, driving around town, it's very clear that we still need it. If we had charged residents, it would have been $20,000 in fees that would have been collected for that. So I think the residents really got a value for the 2 weeks that we were open. And the total cost to chip it will be in the $25K range.
There was a steady stream yesterday while I was there. I wish Mr. Wyatt, whoever his name was, I wish I saw him. He could help me unload the truck.
So Jay, Mr. Chair, through you if I could?
We acted as a board. Yes.
Through you if I could. So if I'm hearing you right, you're saying that we would have taken in 20,000, but expended 25,000 to chip it.
The text says it will cost around $25K to have it chipped.
That's something I think we should look into as.
Seems a little interesting to me. But
Yeah, thank you.
That math doesn't seem to work too well.
It's not mathing. That's not mathing, as Pete
Yeah,
says.
they did, full wholeheartedly agreed to extend it for the 2 weeks though, given the situation.
Thank you.
But I'm with Jeff. We probably want to revisit this at some point, too. And Jen's nodding.
Yes.
The money part.
And picked up on that?
Yeah.
We brought in 20,000, cost us 25,000?
Bargain at twice the cost.
Yeah. That's my business philosophy. We lose money on every transaction, but we make it up on volume. I'll lean the government, so. We have the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move we vote to authorize the town
No,
administrator.
hold on.
Well, wait,
Sorry?
you can't jump,
Moving ahead,
you're
I'm
jumping the
sorry.
shark here.
We're on H, I'm sorry.
Yes. Jeff?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, thank you to Emily, Town Clerk. We now have a revised matrix of the committee and board members here in Harwich who are not in compliance. And I've taken the liberty to write up a little narrative as to what compliance means, how we've tried to solve it over the last several years, and maybe some recommendations for the board to at least have a jumping-off point for us to begin the conversation. So, Mr. Chair, would you like the updated number of people who are not in compliance?
Sure, but I have a different recommendation at the end than you.
Okay. We have 65 people presently not in compliance with respect to our committees and our boards. Do you want me to continue, or you want to jump in now?
What I was going to recommend is, rather than having the board do this, is to convey the authority to the interview committee to send letters to each of these people saying that failure to correct these deficiencies can and will result in the loss of their appointment.
Okay.
And then see where we are after that.
So if I may reply to that, because that's exactly what I have here.
Okay.
Just with the date, because I'd like the board to weigh in on the date.
Yeah.
Okay?
And that would be great. I just want to be able to give you guys the flexibility to be able to
100%.
do what you need to do.
And the letter's been drafted and ready to go, and I'm happy to show it to the board later. But just for the public's understanding, for this board's understanding, compliance as it, and Emily, please feel free to, jump up and help me if I'm not 100% accurate here. Compliance means they either have not been sworn in as of yet, they have not completed their conflict of interest educational component, and they have not begun to use their town-supplied email as of yet. So so then you might say to yourself, what has the town done over the last, I'm gonna say, 5, 6, 7 years for some of these non-compliant members, is multiple attempts from the clerk by way of email, by way of phone calls over the years, and also with our town administration in our office. Natasha and Jen do a hell of a job in there, and they're on top of this, but what we're finding is people just aren't either responding to the request to become compliant, or responding and then not following through. So, to the chair's suggestion of writing a letter, and I want to thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving Anita and I more work. That's, we're happy to do it.
It's lonely at the top.
Understood. So my recommendation for the letter that you speak of would be to give the committee members that are not in compliance until April 4th to get into compliance. Personally, I wanted to go scorched earth, but I was talked out of it for a lot of different reasons, and I'm okay with that. I think we should, some of these people have had 3, 4, 5 years of being not in compliance, so I really don't have a problem with bringing the hammer down on that. But April 4th was the date that I came up with. This will allow those up for reappointment on July 1st to have the ability to be considered. That is a very, very clear distinction that just because they become compliant does not automatically grant them reappointment. Anyone not in compliance after that date will be terminated on the 6th of April, and that would certainly put...
For the appointments.
What's that? For their appointments,
Yeah,
yes,
for
not
the
by
sworn-
death.
the sworn-in
Yeah,
part.
we're not by death. No, they will be terminated for the sworn-in or the compliance for the conflict of interest.
I think we need to know that we're on solid legal ground for that second
Do you want
part.
to speak to that, Emily? Because I've had a couple of conversations, and I just want to make sure that we get this letter right. Thank you, Emily.
Sure. Hi, Emily Mitchell, Town Clerk. I'm not sure I'm clear on the question in front of you at the moment.
I can understand if they're not sworn in, that they can have to cease being an appointed member. But being late on the, both the compliance for conflict interest, to summarily dump them over that.
So the state statute does require all board and committee members to complete annual conflict of interest training requirements.
Or
They're out of compliance.
Or so there's sort of a provision in the statute where the town could refer those folks to the State Ethics Commission, and that body has enforcement authority. And to my knowledge, their typical enforcement mechanism is to levy fines for negligent non-compliance, so someone who's aware that they have the obligation and continues not to meet that obligation. I would say that the select board has an interest in making sure that members of the bodies that it appoints to are in compliance with both town policy and state law. So I wouldn't think you would be in violation of any local policy or state regulation to choose to remove members that you appoint for failure to comply.
I'm inclined to accept what you're saying, except would you give us until tomorrow to check with KP Law over the conflict of interest stuff.
I would, but I would just say that this board should have standards that need to be met without exception. And that is a low bar, in my opinion, and the five of us have done it. And I don't see any reason we're gonna give them until April 4th to get it done. It's not like we're gonna give them till, till Wednesday of this week. And I might add, many of these people have been out of compliance, Mr. Chair,
For quite some time.
a long time. And the amount of hours that the clerk has spent is, in my opinion, wildly unacceptable to have her even doing that job.
Again, I'd like to be able to refer to legal counsel about what the final penalty would be. I mean, final penalty was if they're doing this for quite some time, they should never be reappointed.
Well, they do have the option, Mr. Chair, if they don't
Coming into
comply,
compliance.
of reapplying.
Yeah.
From the get-go.
That would be a black mark to me.
Well, 100%. So if it's a black mark to reapply, why would we allow them?
And while Michael is still on
Oh, boy.
the board here, he and I had suggested a long time ago to the board, and I thought it was a great idea, that if we made an appointment, and I forget what we were talking about, 30 or 60 days after the appointment, they hadn't actually gone to get sworn in, it nullified the appointment right then and there automatically. It's a matter of policy.
It's a great policy.
Well, we never adopted it.
If I may, Mr. Chair, oh, sorry, no, please, I defer to you.
No.
I just, of the 65 folks who are on that master list of out of compliance with either completion of state ethics training requirements, failure to be sworn in for their current term, or have not begun using their Town of Harwich email account, for the folks who are there for failure to comply with state ethics, they are out of compliance for both 2025 and 2026, at least.
Wow.
I didn't include anyone who was only out of compliance for 2026.
Mr. Chair,
Please.
if I could throw a couple of questions out there. Mr. Handler, April 4th is a Saturday, so would it be April 3rd, end of business?
Oh, geez, did I miss it? So yes, it would be end of business day on Friday, if that is,
I'm in the wrong year.
I'd be inclined.
no,
to
you're
go-
right, the 3rd, you're
I'd be
correct.
inclined to go to the Monday because it takes about
Well,
3
I got-
days for that. Once we get the letter done, it's
Well,
gonna take 3 or 4 days to get out.
Sorry,
I got a couple more. So how soon do we get the letter out? That's my
That was-
question.
I can have that out tomorrow if this board votes it.
But you're gonna have all 60 whatever letters out tomorrow?
I would absolutely make that happen.
All right.
As soon as this board votes it the next day,
I'd like to
they'll
be
be out.
sure with Greg that.
When is the, when is,
penalty is proper.
when is the renewal vote that we take on these, you bring a mass list to us? When is that?
I would ask Jen that, or,
Sorry, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Somewhere mid-May.
Question
late
is, we
to
bring
early
the
June.
mass list to us with, 40 names on it for renewal. When is that scheduled to take place?
I think it's sometime in May. Natasha just prepared
Okay.
the letters that went out to board and committee members that if they don't want to be reappointed, to reach out. So we're kind of in that limbo stage, but we have some thoughts on this end of the table.
Great.
There is no required time. It's mid-May to early June.
Fine, okay. And so, one, I think the policy idea is spot on, and two, I'm inclined to go with Mr. Handler that you either get on board in the next couple of weeks, or you voted off the island.
So the only comment.
I'm not sure he said it that way, but
Mr. Chair, the only comment I would add, just from Jen, Natasha, and myself, is if, Mr. Handler, if you need our help with the letters, we probably need more than tomorrow. Like, it would probably take us a couple days to do it. and
He has
that-
a staff.
Yeah, us.
I have my own
which is-
staff.
Which
No,
we
I'm
don't,
kidding.
we don't mind doing it. We
That's
don't mind
great.
doing it. We
That's
just need
great.
more than a couple days. So we could try to get them out by the 20th. That would be a game plan. That would give them 2 full weeks.
so how about we bump it to the 13th of April?
That would be awesome.
That help
That would help
everyone?
us tremendously, because that way, I think if we don't get them out by the 20th and it went into next week, they still get 2 full weeks.
Understood.
Yeah.
Great point. Thank you, Jay.
I agree with that.
Okay. So, do you want to hear from the public and then we can finish, Mr. Chair?
Sure. Bob?
Okay, one question, one request.
Identify yourself
I'm
first.
Bob Nickerson, actually now Chair of Brooks Academy Commission. And I know 2 of our members are coming up because I got the emails and copied. Can you copy the chairs when you send these out? So they can know on their committee who is not in compliance?
Sure, I hear we have new emails.
Yeah, we can email the chair.
Secondly, one of the concerns I have is some of these committees, like Brooks Academy is not one of them, but some of these committees are quite important, ZBA, planning. If people aren't compliant and they're voting, that is very disgusting. That is wrong. They should be off that committee or they should be on hold. That is not fair as far as I'm concerned. I think they have to be held strictly to be compliant. And, because those are making big votes. You know, Brooks Academy isn't making any big votes, but I think everybody has the same thing. We should be compliant. And Emily works really hard. She has to ding us a couple of times to get that done. And, you know, I got mine done so she didn't have to do it again, and I think we need to be hard about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian?
Thank you. You
You have to
actually,
re-identify
Brian
yourself.
Sullivan, I'm resident on
Still.
14 Deer Run, and I'm the chair of the ZBA, or Board of Appeals. Actually, for 26, I don't think I'm in compliance yet for the,
You're not on the list, so stop talking right there.
I've been very busy, so I haven't done that
Not
part of
on the
it.
list, stop
Okay.
talking.
No self-incrimination.
Here's my recommendation. Inform the chairs of the situation. Give them a deadline to report back to the select board as to the status and getting things. Let the chairs try to take charge of getting their people compliant. And now the fact that someone is serving on a board or a committee and they haven't been sworn in, that's pretty sloppy, and I think that needs to be taken care of, promptly. But before you start all of a sudden kicking people off boards, let the chairs, give them the respect, and let them try to take control of their boards and get everybody compliant. Then they can report back in 2 weeks or whatever regarding the status, but put the onus on them before you start, termination procedures. Thank you.
And the
Just
other
check if
regulars
Duncan's,
are-
let me check if Duncan's on the list before.
And the other.
Please,
regulars are-
I just emailed Emily.
Oh, you're good, Duncan.
Mea culpa maxima, if I am. I would just want to thread the needle kind of between those two alternatives. I think, the chairs need to have a heads up. By the same token, particularly like on planning board, we're talking about like millions and millions and millions of dollars in public trust for the representing and propagating the code of the town of Harwich as we go forward. If you can't comply with taking like a 15-minute test, oh my gosh, this is a problem. And particularly if that test involves very kind of clear scenarios that play out all the time. So I think that, we should have the chairs should have the information, but we ought to also stick to a pretty tight deadline, in my opinion. Thanks.
You have
Can I
more,
add
Pete?
2 statements? Sorry.
Sorry, please.
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
2 things. I know, Jeff, you and I had we've talked about this a couple times over the last few weeks, and I had mentioned if the board decided to go the route of identifying a drop-dead date to come into compliance, that I would be happy to set aside windows of time for drop-in swearing in. So I would be happy to partner with the administration team if you're working on sending out a letter to folks who are out of compliance to include notes about when the clerk's office is available for swearing in without requiring folks to schedule an appointment. So if that's the route that the board and administration is going to, I'm happy to look at my schedule in the morning and set those dates aside. And then the second thing I wanted to mention after listening to Duncan and Brian, as you all know, the town email policy, which is a town level policy, not a state statute, is the newest of the town's requirements for committee members. The board adopted that policy in October, and we began rolling out the town emails to board and committee members in November. And it was an enlightening experience for us in the clerk's office and in partnership with the information technology department. That was an impetus for us to reach out more heavily to members than we have probably for anything else. Again, mindful that it was new and might be a substantial kind of bigger commitment for folks that they hadn't previously had. So while we were rolling those out, we held 9 trainings that were open to all board and committee members, full trainings where we walked through, public records implications, open meeting law implications, and how to access these accounts on your various types of devices. We held 3 drop-in sessions for folks to just come in, bring their device, ask questions. And then we've offered one-on-one appointments either with clerk's office staff or with the IT director, Sarah Eaton. We have probably contacted folks on that list 20 times, and there are still people who are out of compliance. We have reached out to chairs in an effort to get members of their board or committee into compliance, as well as to staff liaisons if they were members of a board that had a staff contact. So I think that's just a salient example of these are the efforts we've gone to help folks come into compliance, and that we'll certainly continue to do towards that goal. But we have tried to include every relevant party in this effort.
That's the granular part. I think what everybody up here is stating, and Duncan is absolutely right. Don't want to get too deeply into this, but about the law, but you have to go in front of a duly constituted board in order to get an approval for something. Otherwise, some bad consequences happen to the town. So, how about we vote the authorization to you, and you know what the feeling is about when to pull the trigger?
And that's great. I just would like to address the ZBA chair since he's here and brought up a great point. And Brian, thank you for that. But we have 22 of the 65 have not been sworn in. So I cannot in good conscience leave it to the chairs of the boards who might be in Florida, might not be here, might not get to the emails. I would like to attack this as fast as we could. So to your point, let's try to vote on.
And I also, not to diminish anybody's importance to us, a chair, just so you understand, the board members don't report to you. We appoint them and they show up to you. So dealing with the chair in order to get them in compliance is missing the point. They have an obligation to the statutory town, not to the board chairs.
Thank you.
So I'd like to be able to authorize the letter, and then we
One
can
thing
work.
to add is that I think to help with the chair conversation, but still stay in line with what you're talking about with Mr. Handler, is we could try our best over the next couple of days to email the chairs, and that would give them 3 weeks. Just a quick email, hey, FYI, these people are out of compliance, they're getting a letter.
In the current
Gives them
construct,
3
doesn't
weeks
that
to
wind
try
up
to work
being an email to the planning board chair goes to the planning board?
I'm not sure
Let
about
me
that.
understand, everybody doesn't get their own address, it's member.
No, actually, with the current Town of Harwich emails, it would be emily.mitchell@harwich-ma.gov as chair of the planning board in this hypothetical. Sorry, Duncan, I don't want to usurp your.
Yeah, but I'm not sure why we would just do a broadcast email then.
Could do either one.
And
But we can
you
get an
will be
email
getting
out.
something in your letterbox shortly.
What I'm saying is we could do both approaches.
Yeah.
We could do an email quickly and then the letters to follow up.
And I don't know what the percentages of folks who are not compliant and or sworn in that aren't even using the email, so
It's worth a shot, too.
carry a pigeon.
I'm assuming they all have mailboxes, though. Maybe
And
not.
I don't think in that letter, we're interested in carving them out because they're not compliant with email usage. That would be a strong suggestion. Is that what this, how does this board feel about that? I mean, should we look at?
That's fairly new. I would not necessarily hang my hat on that as being the way you walk the plank for membership.
Understood, but it is a public records request potential exposure.
It's a
If there-
policy of the board.
It's the policy of the board, exactly right. So it goes back to my point about a standard, a standard.
Whatever you would like.
So you need a motion, Mr. Chair?
I do.
Okay. Pete, you want to make it?
You don't want me, because I'm sticking with the third.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move that we
Draft a letter.
we approve a draft of a letter regarding compliance for all committee members and board members that are out of compliance, that will give them a deadline to become compliant of April 13th, or they will immediately
Be subject
to termination from their board or their respective committee.
And that letter is for the signature of the interview committee.
And that letter is for the signature of the interview committee. Correct.
Before there's a second, I believe the motion was for the board to approve a letter. Can you switch it that we authorize
Authorize the
the
That's right,
the-
yeah.
Interview
the
committee.
interview subcommittee to work with administration to craft and send letters to the 65?
That's what he meant.
It's a long way down there, so you didn't hear that part of my
Gotcha.
motion, but that, I did say that.
Perfect.
Thank you.
In which case, second.
Thank you.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded is moving.
What?
Because he made your motion
Oh,
for
understood.
you.
Thank you, yes.
All right. Any further discussion before I go insane? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, I move we vote to authorize the town administrator to sign the intergovernmental agreement between Plymouth County and the town of Harwich to lease a John Deere 210 GLC mechanical dredge in the amount of $1,450.
Second.
Moved and seconded to authorize town administrator to sign the intergovernmental agreement. Any further discussion?
Just for a point of clarification, because I wanted to drag this thing on, it's $1,450. Why is it coming before us? Because it's an intergovernmental agreement?
Correct.
Perfect, thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Town administrator's report.
This better be
Right,
hefty.
yeah. Unfortunately, it looks long now. I thought it was quick when I put it together, but it's been a busy day. Just a few items to highlight.
We hadn't noticed.
My town administrator report may be different than we've had in the past, but I try to highlight different things that are going on. And so first, an update on the assistant town administrator recruitment. I wanted to provide the board an update on the recruitment. The position was posted in late January and closed last week. To date, we received 29 applicants, and I'm happy to report that we have a very qualified field of candidates, including many municipal department heads, current assistant town administrators, and even one current town administrator. Next steps, I'm working with Human Resources on the hiring process, and we'll be screening candidates with a group of 5, including myself, Chairman Howell, Chief LeBlanc, Finance Director Jen Mintz, and Human Resources Generalist Angelique McGibbons. The plan is to screen candidates in early April and have the finalists complete a modified assessment center that will include scenario-based presentations to that group. I hope that in mid to late April, I'm at a situation where I'll be making a recommendation to the board. I'm excited for the next steps and happy that we have such a strong qualified candidate group. I think 29, I think it really speaks to the position, obviously the rate of pay that we posted it at, and what we have going on in Harwich right now. So I'm excited about that. Wanted to do a quick update. I know it's already a month ago and the snow's gone, but just an update on the 2026 blizzard. Since today was my first day, I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the town's emergency management team for their hard work of the towns and the town staff dealing with the unprecedented storm. Under the leadership of the Emergency Management Director, Chief LeBlanc, the team met twice daily. I'm not sure if everyone is aware of that, but for about a process of a week, the team met twice daily to look at, provide departmental updates and work through planning and response on critical town issues. The team included me in their preparation, even though I wasn't an employee yet. It was kind of nice to be able to be included. And I was thoroughly impressed with the professionalism and the work that the team accomplished. I was actually involved in 2 different communities' emergency management teams at the same time, and I can tell you Harwich did a great job. Really, really impressive. The team consisted of, obviously, our emergency management director, Chief LeBlanc, who I can't say enough about the work he did during the storm. Unbelievable work. We had Chief Considine, Lynn Cooper, Sean Libby, Deputy Fire Chief Thornton, Deputy Police Chief Hutton, along with Brian Albee. They all played critical roles for the town and should be commended for the quality of their work that they did during this challenging storm. Additionally, I'd like to thank our public safety members, along with the team of the DPW, for the hard work and the long hours they logged to return this town to some level of normalcy, which hasn't really even happened yet, but I think they did a great job in a short amount of time doing that. Finally, the storm and significant power loss resulted in a requirement of not only a warming shelter, but also an overnight shelter at Cape Tech, something that hadn't been put in place in Harwich in a really long time. We have a long list of groups that deserve recognition for the operation, and I'd like to thank everyone involved. First and foremost, the team at Cape Tech, the administration and staff, they did a great job supporting that mission there and running that shelter. Buckler's Towing, Department of Conservation and Recreation, the Monomoy hockey team helped out, AmeriCorps, American Red Cross, the Family Table Collaborative fed everybody, the Salvation Army, the Brewster, Orleans, Chatham, Harwich CERT team, apparently from conversations with Chief LeBlanc and Chief Considine, the CERT team did an amazing job, and we wouldn't have been able to run the shelter without them, so they deserve a thank you, along with Cape Cod Fish and Game and the Harwich PD. Really an unprecedented storm. Chief LeBlanc was, 2 weeks on the job as the town's emergency management director. He kicked butt, did an amazing job. Everybody involved did. The team worked really collaboratively, and it was very impressive, and they deserve recognition. An update on the FY27 budget. Happy to report that today I met with Monomoy and their leadership team and believe that we have a pretty good deal in place regarding the FY27 budget. After meeting with the team today, along with Jen Mintz, I agreed to present a final draft budget to the select board with a total increase of around 5% for Monomoy. That doesn't include the exempt debt that was approved last year for the the window project, which would bring it to around 6%, which is 3.28% lower than the original assessment that they presented to this board back in January of 8.28%. So this reflects about an increase of $500,000 over their original budget request. The school admin team will be here next week to present the budget to the board. They're going to meet with the subcommittee tomorrow evening, the budget subcommittee, and then following our meeting here next Monday night, the full school committee will vote to support that budget at their next Thursday. And I think it's important to note that this final budget will result in a level services budget to the district next year. There'll be some cuts that they have to make, but ultimately they'll be able to provide the same level of service that they did in FY26. I'd like to thank Jen Mintz for her hard work. She was able to, over the last few days before that meeting, work with me to put together what will be a balanced budget with this additional funding to the school assessment, and this will be the final piece to complete the FY27 budget and present it to you guys. So we'll have that this week to be able to present to you. And then just lastly, just a transition thank you. I'd like to take a minute to acknowledge the team that was responsible for the leadership gap over the last month. First and foremost, thank you to you guys for being patient and waiting for my arrival. It's been a challenge, and you could not pick a more complicated time of year to have a leadership gap, and the board did a great job getting through that. I'd also like to thank Chief Considine for stepping up and saying yes to being the interim town administrator, along with the hard work of Natasha Lyon and Jen Clark. They not only held the fort down, but they also moved the ball forward to town meeting. So I think they did a great job and deserve to be commended. So thank you to everybody involved in the leadership gap that we had. Jen, thank you. And I think we're in a good place today and looking forward to the future. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right. Select board member reports.
Where to start?
I don't know.
We'll start at the end so we can go home, but I'm not gonna go with that one.
But that's the one we wanted to hear.
No, we don't want that
Take
one.
your time,
Take
Pete.
way too much time. We got time, Jeff.
Take your time.
Yeah, did you bring snacks tonight?
I ate it.
I believe it was a couple weeks ago, we had Link before us, and we voted to authorize a Chapter 90 expenditure for the Safe Schools sidewalk, which is sideway.
Both can be true.
So if memory serves me correct, we did that. And as I was flipping through, in my downtime, the 25 town meeting warrant, it looks like Article 52, and again, unless it was something else, but this is $200,000 for Main Street and Sisson Road Safe Routes to School project. So if that's the case, perhaps, you folks could take a look at that and talk to
That was
Link.
last year, Article 52 of last year.
Yeah. And again, and I assume that's what it's for, because when Link was before us, he said ideally we would have gone to town meeting for the funds. I think we may have done that. So it's worth exploring. It may not be anything in the end, but again, it was Article 52 on 2025 town meeting. I'm gonna hold off on the other article I wanted to bring forward from previous years, so that's all I have. Thank you.
Anita?
I don't have anything, but I'm going to look forward to working with you, Jay, and thank you very much for all that you did even on your vacation.
You are Mark.
I am Mark. Welcome, Jay. I'm the forgetful one. of the
And welcome,
four.
Mark.
Mark.
Anyways, I attended the Monomoy Building Committee meeting last week. I'm on that, but I haven't actively gone because I've been busy with the select board. But just a couple of updates. They've decided to put a metal roof on a section of the school, approximate cost of $300,000 to $400,000 additional. I'm sure when they come next week, the schools, they can talk about that. They are gonna start the siding project within a couple of weeks, which is nice. One thing I didn't realize, and this gives you a sense of the condition of the school when the regional school district received it, all of the sheathing for that building is gonna be removed. So they're gonna not only take the siding off, but the plywood sheathing down to the stud, and then they reconstruct that. So that's just something to consider. Second.
Don't go anywhere because this was stated before. Just want to make sure everybody knows this. That was my position, is that the building was Chatham's building. They were fully engaged in the reconstruction of it from their high school to the middle school. And there was not a project manager, and as far as I understand it, they didn't fully Tyvek the building, and we got handed the building with a latent defect. So I just want everybody, I want to repeat that, because that condition existed already. That's why they're peeling off everything.
I also attended the Charter Committee meeting. One thing they did say that may save us some time during annual town meeting is that they had a discussion with the town moderator. A lot of the uncontroversial articles, say for example C1 through C5, there's a few other ones, can be read all together and voted on. Perhaps save some time. And final thing, last week I was at a meeting of Cape and Islands Select Board members or whatever, but the seasonal communities is now a law. And there's been up to almost $1 million worth of grants already granted to towns on the Cape. So I know when we've spoken about it before, it wasn't a law yet. It is now. Just a suggestion, we may want to revisit it sometime.
If we were to adopt that, and we need a full agenda discussion on this, that is what we get. What we have to give is we are surrendering our zoning to a state mandate that designates areas that are allowed to have much more dense building. They're not even contiguous. We need to absolutely go into a deeper dive. I've said this before. What do we get for what we're giving? The fact that the law exists doesn't mean anything unless we opt into it.
And that's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jay, thank you for the cookie.
Piece of chocolate, Swiss
from
chocolate,
Switzerland.
Swiss chocolate.
Can't wait to see what you bring next week.
I know.
Started a precedent.
Probably nothing, unfortunately, but.
Maybe a hot dog or something. Listen, is it too early to ask for an update on the assistant Park and Recs director, or the over at the?
No, the person has been hired.
Oh,
I
okay.
assume that Angelique went through the process of, you guys could say no if you didn't like the individual. I don't know that
I
for
don't think
sure.
we've seen anything.
She didn't, but we do have the right with a 4/5 vote to withdraw the offer.
She's supposed to start next week, so hopefully we're not gonna do that. I don't know exactly how that goes. I'll talk with her tomorrow about what that.
Why I'm asking
Yeah,
is,
the 25th, Jen, I'm not sure her last name, but she, Jen Anderson? Jen Anderson, she was, the
It's getting
current,
very confusing, Willow.
she was
Gen
the
1,
rec
Gen 2.
director in Truro? Wellfleet.
No,
And
Truro.
she accepted the position as the assistant, and she's set to start next week on the 25th.
excellent. I have nothing else, Mr. Chair.
I just want to say that we wanted to ease you into this with an agenda that was both short and not too difficult, so,
Sure did it.
yeah, you can expect to have a much more difficult agenda next week. With that-
Interesting.
With that, I'll entertain a motion for us to
Second.
adjourn. It's moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Let's go home.